So very good morning, everybody. Are you all set today? A louder, very good morning. Yes. What is special today? What are two occasions that we have today? Take a bow, all the fathers. Somebody, when I entered, I wished a father saying, Happy Father's Day. You know what he said? Oh, thank you so much. Nobody celebrates us as Mother's Day. Not sure how true it is, but I've always seen the role of a father has always been silent. Yes, we mothers like that jazz because some of them are at home with the kids all the time. You know, to get that attention, these small days make a lot of difference in our lives. But yes, the other part of it is the fathers who are the silent role player in everyone's life. A father can be a very different figure. It doesn't have to be only your parental father. It can be your father-in-law. It can be your mentor. It can be someone who has guided you throughout. If you ask me my personal journey, I would not be able to say that the only person who gave me birth is my father. I've had a lot of father figures in my life. So everybody today, take a moment to reflect. Who's that one person who must have touched your soul? Who's that one person who must have guided you as a father figure? Whether it's a school journey, whether what profession you really wanted to pick up, or maybe just that time of your journey when you need many of them. At ICAI, I think I have many fathers, for sure. May not be senior to me or by age, but they have guided me a lot. So thank you so much, and a very, very happy Father's Day for all the fathers who are here, for standing with every children of theirs, whether directly parent or through mentorship. Then, we go to International Yoga Day. We celebrate balance, not just of the body, but also of the mind, emotions, and purpose. Yoga teaches us that life is not about winning one moment. It is about sustaining ourselves for the long journey. And that brings to the theme of today's session, infinite games. Many of us spend our lives playing infinite games. Finite games, actually. Do you know what is the difference between infinite and finite games? Okay, I will keep it to Joseph. But still, finite games are something that are short-term goals, like a deadline, VAT return you have to file. That is your finite game. Corporate tax return deadline is coming. These are finite. It is a moment, it's done, you're finished. Passing of exams, achieving promotions. As chartered accountants, we know this journey perhaps better than anyone. We have all experienced setbacks, comebacks, and the determination to keep returning until we achieved those two precise letters before our name. That is how we achieved a CA. But the most meaningful part of our life is being parent, building relationship, maintaining our health. So, at this yoga day, please reflect upon and take a vow today that yes, I will spend some time for myself and my health. Because by protecting your health, you are also protecting your family. So it's not only about you, it's also about your family. So that is the essence of this yoga day. Today we have a small counter. Our CSR volunteers, the fitness volunteers, have come forward and brought that essence to us. You all must have done push-ups, you all must have done standing hatha yoga, I'm not sure. But how many of us could pass that challenge? I could hardly do it. That tells that we still have to work a lot on our fitness. So please, on this Father's Day and Yoga Day, the best gift that you can give your father is your health and your fitness. With that, welcome everybody for today's session. Moving on, united by shared values and deep-rooted ties, the UAE and India stand together in friendship. I now request everyone to rise for the national anthem. Please sing along today the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनाद्यति कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Next segment would be, I would like to invite our chairman. Over the year now, we have experienced the energy and thoughtfulness as he goes into every initiative of the chapter. What many may not even see those countless conversations, ideas behind the scenes with the committee that he leads through. That commitment to excellence and member engagement has been defining hallmark of this year's journey. So let us put our hands together and invite our chairman, CA Rishi Chawla, for his words of wisdom. Please, he needs a very big round of applause. This session master class with 500 people, I think this is the first time ICAI is holding something like this.
Thank you very much, Secretary Madam. इनके लिए भी बजनी चाहिए ताली, right? इनकी power भी कम नहीं है. थोड़ा तेज बजा दो. I think he deserves a big round of applause from all of us. What makes it different is that a secretary role, actually, I have been secretary, our vice chairman has been secretary, we understand this. Right from the conception of this event till its conclusion, secretary is at the center stage. So registration to every coordination, so she spends a lot of time. I thank you very much, Ashna, for all your time spent. Give her a big round of applause. Because the success of event depends a lot when we as a team work, and you can see we all are wearing same t-shirts today. So this is the kind of friendship and family we are at the XCOM. So I just wanted to share that, and this is also idea of our Madam Secretary. All right, good morning everyone. And it's, I would say, infinite morning today. So you're feeling that infinite feel already? चिराग भाई ने already काफ़ी करवा दिया आप लोगों को योगा वगैरह, our volunteer. Thank you, Chirag bhai, for all your efforts. Give him a big round of applause. Chirag bhai has been at the center stage of our fitness. He is a elite runner. Yesterday he did about 30,000 steps I saw in the Steppies app. So this is the kind of things we need, because what we do, we are good at our profession, we are good at our learning, but at the same time, health is very, very important for us. On a yoga day today, it reminds us, even us more, is that if we can breathe like a full oxygen with power, the power automatically comes into us. But if we, for example, not take care of health, no matter whatever financial knowledge we have, it is no use. If our hands are not moving, our feet is not running fast enough. So I think it's a very important day, that yoga day. We should remind, we have done some exercises just to get you going. Other thing is that we are going to do another 30-minute session after end of the session today, where we'll do some chair yoga. At the same time, I would highly recommend, please join our STEPS app. No matter if you are winning the competition or not, or what, at least you know where are you in comparison to your colleague. One day, our secretary madam posted that somebody did 100,000 steps, right? He did a marathon. 100,000 means a 42 kilometers. So we have that kind of chartered accountants in our chapter. Comrades Marathon, Mankada is in South Africa, yeah? So we have those kind of athletes also in our chapter. We are not just that, the people who just good at numbers and all that. We have some good community as such. So please get motivated with each other and let this the health and fitness also drive goes with us. So thank you very much, our distinguished members, for joining, our valued sponsors, respected former chairman, our vice chairman, Amit Bhai, my colleagues in the executive committee, and a special warm welcome to master trainer, Dr. Joseph Kim, from my favorite book, SINEK'S. Joseph is sitting right at the back and observing the crowd. He's already making his notes, so get ready. He's going to really take us through a journey we'll remember for a lifetime. And we are very thankful that you have joined today, and especially on your birthday. Wishing you a very happy birthday, Joseph. This is very special. I think you'll remember this for a long time. All right, and also wishing everyone a happy yoga and Father's Day. It's very important, Father's Day, being a father as well. And I have lost my father a few years back. So I always remember, these days we don't actually celebrate as a Father's Day or Mother Day or, Children's Day. But what happened is that these are the real strength of us. For example, let me say like this. Can I have raise of hands? How many of us has achieved a goal in life? For example, a promotion or CA degree. CA degree के लिए तो करना पड़ेगा भाई. कौन नहीं उठा रहा है हाथ? And after achieving the CA degree, what we felt, oh, now the CA is over. Let's find a good job. So we found a good job, earning money. Then the salary is less. I got married. I need a good wife or a husband. And that is also achieved. I need good children. That is achieved. Children should go to good school. That is achieved. So the mission continues to shift, right? And there is no one day where we wake up and say, wow, I am happy today. I've done everything. Now I really can peacefully go around, have a nice coffee or something. There is always something nagging at the back of our mind, which is saying, okay, ये मिल जाता तो और अच्छा होता, ये आ जाता तो और अच्छा होता. So there is no end to this process. So talking about my father, I wanted to tell that story to you. That's why I thought, let me tell you afterwards. I lost my father a few years back, and I loved my father. He's been my inspiration. He told me to finish my CA, though in my whole family there is no chartered accountant. And that's why I'm here today. When he was alive, I never paid attention that much. I mean, I always paid attention to everything what he wants. But after losing him, I realized that those small moments or his happiness or the time which we are not able to spend when we are outside, then they are in India, is such a thing which is lost in the process. So ultimately what it feels is that it's not the achievement or the money which we are earning in our bank account that matters. What matters is the people around us. Like we as chartered accountants sitting in this table, what is matter for us is each other. If, for example, if we see my colleague, my friend, or somebody running a firm or running a good job, they are successful and happy. If we are able to make ourselves happy with their happiness, that is the biggest, I think, achievement which we can have as persons. So infinite game touches that aspect, is that finding happiness more than just your bank account and your next goal in life. So this is where the infinite game takes us. So to talk all about that, we have a master trainer with us. So who are going to take us through this journey, and he'll teach us what is an infinite game and why it is important. That's very important. So, and another thing is that in our CA seminars, we usually have that setting where sitting in that last corner, and sipping a tea. We are having today is a classroom setting. You can imagine yourself going to school or college. You're sitting on a table, studying, making notes, collaborating, and doing something. So this is the atmosphere we wanted to create as a committee, and that's how we all are here. So with that, can I request to put my presentation? Yeah. So I want to share the calendar we have. So today we have the session with SINEK'S. Joseph is with us. Next week, 25th June, we are in between. There is one AI master class, which is a webinar which Mahinder is going to run. On the AI, because we are going to start ICAI Dubai at 44 AI learning. So we'll do those small snippets, webinars in between during the year, so that we, rather than doing a huge AI seminar, we pick up certain topics and dive into it. That is the idea as a committee we are thinking about. Then on 27th of June, we are going to have the family event, Story of Comebacks, as you must have seen the flyer. Then our tax course has started. CA date, plantation, and blood donation we are going to have. Next slide. Then IFRS, Vijay is working on a session on the audit focus group. Then we are on 11th July, we are working on one session on the yoga, health, and wellness as well. So that is still under planning. We'll come to know about it. 26th July, we are thinking about one topic on the future of audit. And IFRS updates. And then there is an AI masterclass. There are some demands have come from members about the AI masterclass of India, which is very popular. So we're bringing them here. It's very difficult to get their calendars, but they have very kindly given us this date. So we are going to share this flyer. It's a masterclass session, so their seats are limited. So please get yourself registered at the moment you get it, because we will not have a very big room that will have a limited number of people. Next slide. So these are major highlight events we are going to have during the year. Independence Day, we'll celebrate Diwali, annual conference, and then sports tournament we are going to do, and International Women's Day next year. So these are some of the initiatives. Can we keep rolling this? Some of the initiatives, so what we have done is we have put the roll-up banners outside, so all the QR codes are there. So if you're not part of an initiative, and you see how do you get through with it, you can just go, get yourself registered, and be part of that initiative, because then only you will see how it makes a difference. So we also have the job portal. The only thing I will want to request is, if you want to post a job for a fellow chartered accountant, please make an effort to post it in the group, because we have about 12 groups. So if you post in one group, it only reaches to about 400 people. But we are 3,000 plus people. So when you post it get it to the portal. And Uga, thank you Uga for all your help in assisting this. If you don't know how to do it, please contact him. He will guide you how to get your job posted on the portal. Because ultimately, it's not about giving a job. It's about infinite game. If my brother or sister gets a job, that is a big satisfaction for us as chartered accountants. So please make that effort. Next slide. So we have, our knowledge base is there, so start using those CA GPTs which are already been trained for our courses. Next one. FT Profession, if you have not registered, 60 days free. I am using it, it's very good. Please get yourself that 60 days free. Next slide. So these are 5 initiatives. Please give me new ideas. We are working on the annual conference theme right now. Give your idea. I'm going to circulate one form where I need some ideas from you, speakers, ideas on doing certain kind of courses, whatever. So please do get involved with the chapter, because that's how we succeed as a community. So thank you for the contribution of people who have given us a lot of speakers or something. I'm gonna share the certificates later. And last slide for me, to ask what's best for me is finite thinking. To ask what's best for us is infinite thinking. So with that, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the session. Back to you, Secretary Madam.
Thank you, Chairman Saab. What an impressive lineup of events. And thank you for sharing that personal story with us. Moving on to the next segment, finally, the curtains are on for all that we have gathered today. But to formally introduce our speaker of the session, I would like to invite our very own Vice Chairman, CA Amit Khaitan, who has always been able to connect people with his smile and charm. Without making much of your time, please put your hands together for CA Amit Khaitan.
Good morning, everyone. I love that energy, but still I feel it's little low. And thank you so much, Madam Secretary, for being so kind always with your words. And since everybody is talking about yoga actually, so I think thoda to mera bhi banta hai. And whenever we are talking about yoga, we are always, thinking about that flexibility, postures, and different kind of the asanas. But I think yoga is something much deeper. It's all about, reconnecting with yourself. It's about breathe and to manage the daily life stress. Because in the life, we are, running so fast. So life is not only just about how fast we run. It's also about that how peacefully we are living our life. And I think the yoga is that powerful tool to achieve that peaceful living. And of course, in our fast-running life, it also helps us to manage our stress. And I'm going to give you one stress-busting mantra also, but not now, maybe later on in the middle of the session. But yes, on the yoga day, एक आसन जो आज हम लोगों को नहीं करना है, and especially after the post-lunch, वो है निद्रासन. So I mean, stay awake for the entire session, and of course, be awake for all the session. And of course, apart from the yoga day, we are celebrating Father's Day as well. One thing which I want to say on the personal note, because I feel that, we are very more expressive to our mothers. We are more oftenly saying that how much we are loving them and caring them. We are oftenly expressing our love and hugging them. But fathers, they often stand quietly just behind, working silently, sacrificing silently, and loving silently. So today, when you are going back home, if you are staying with your father, and maybe if he's staying in other country or in India, just take a moment and sit with him or a cup of coffee or of your favorite drink, no matters. Just go and tell him that he is the superhero of your life. And he's going to feel it. And trust me, sometimes life is not giving you that luxury to express it. As Rishi Bhai said, even in my case also I can vouch, but I just wanted to say to my father, he is at the better place now, but that how much I love him, and thank you so much, whatever he has given me, the ability to serve to the members and to my beautiful ICAI family. Can I have a mega round of applause for all the fathers, please? And in my opinion, actually, fathers are the original players for these infinite games. They don't play to win for a day. They play to build that, the legacy for the generations. So thank you so much. And once again, a happy Father's Day to everyone. And what is making this day even, more special, as Rishi Bhai is already steal my brownie point, because I wanted to wish a happy birthday to Joseph. So on the behalf of the ICAI Dubai Chapter and all the members, a very warm and a happy birthday to our trainer, Dr. Joseph Kim. I think एक louder बनता है. On my count of 1, 2, 3, can we say loudly happy birthday? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Joseph! Thank you. And I think Kim is the only person who is celebrating 3 occasions. One is Yoga Day and Father's Day, and of course his birthday. So thank you so much, Kim, for choosing this day to celebrate with us. I think that's a very good thing which you are celebrating with us. And before I move to his formal introduction, I must acknowledge the efforts for our chairman, C.A. Rishi Vice, C.A. Rishi Chawla. He is the only one person, trust me, for this session. He was so determined to bring this session for the members, and whoever is present in this hall, please make most out of it. It's not about the CP hours. I know few of the members after half an hour will think that, okay, our CP hours ho gaya, abhi nikal lete hain. But please don't think, just make most out of this session. This is really is going to be a fantastic session. And now, as a chartered accountant, we train to measure the results, we measure profit, we measure growth, we measure valuations. We are expert at the playing finite games, but life is not a quarter-end closing. And also leadership is also not about, the balance sheets. So we couldn't have asked for a better guide for today's session. Dr. Joseph Kim is a leader whose mission is simply yet powerful to empower those who are next, and so they can transform themselves and the world around them. He has served as a business school professor in Seoul, a Google Tech Talk speaker in Silicon Valley, a president of an international college in Osaka. He's the co-founder of H2H Consulting in Seoul, and he has trained and inspired leaders from the organizations such as Nike, Samsung, and leading universities across Korea and Japan. Academically, he is an alumnus of Harvard Business School General Management Program and holds a PhD in philosophy from Arizona State University. But perhaps what stands out most is his unwavering belief that tomorrow can be better than today, and that leaders should strive to leave behind a positive legacy for the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me giving a huge round of applause for our trainer, from the master trainer from the Simon Sinek Optimism Company Leadership, Dr. Joseph Kim.
All right, hello everybody. Very strange seeing my own face on here. I think I had this is that thing. Okay. So glad to be with you. 3 weeks ago, I was in New Delhi, India, actually, speaking to a conference just about this size, and I get to be with all of you again, so I feel like I'm part Indian now, because I think in the last 2 weeks, I've seen more Indians than I've seen in my whole life put together, so I'm so happy to be with you. Let me start with an illustration that Simon starts with. On January 30th, 1968, before most of us were born, January 30th, 1968, the North Vietnamese launched an attack on their southern Vietnamese counterparts, and this was known as the Tet Offensive. Tet is the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, and for thousands of years, the Vietnamese had no fighting on this day. And so they launched this attack, and over a 2-month period, they attacked every single base that the United States had. So there's roughly 20 million North Vietnamese at the time, and there's roughly 18 million Southern Vietnamese. So the country was divided in two. The Southern Vietnamese had their government supported by the United States and their superior military power, and the Northern Vietnamese had nothing but will and desire. Over 2 months, there was heavy fighting, and in this 2-month period, about 250 American soldiers died. How many soldiers died for North Vietnam? 35,000. They only had 85,000 troops. 35,000 died in 2 months. In the 10-year period that we in the United States call the Vietnam War, they don't call it that, but we call it that, America won every single battle, every single one. They decimated their enemies, they destroyed communication, they destroyed front lines. If you look at the death toll, in that 10-year period, roughly 58,000 American soldiers died. How many North Vietnamese soldiers died? 3 million. 3 million. Do the math, that's 15% of their entire population. Mostly young men, which meant that there was a whole generation of the Vietnamese population that's missing children because the men died, and so the women, the wives, the single ladies couldn't get married. Who won the Vietnam War? Well, they're both Vietnam, remember? Who won the Vietnam War? Not the United States and the Southern Vietnamese. How do you beat your enemy? How do you decimate them? How do you make sure that they're completely destroyed and you lose the war? The reason is because they were playing two different games. The United States was playing to win. And so they made strategic choices. If I win this battle, if I win this battle, if I do this, eventually I will beat my enemy. What about the North Vietnamese? Were they playing to win? They were not playing to win. They were playing for their very way of life. In other words, for the North Vietnamese, it was going to be the United States or us. There's no other option here. In fact, if you study about the Vietnam War, which I've done, there's a famous picture of a young lady by the name of Nguyen, and she's only 22 years old, and she was captured by the Southern Vietnamese. And it's this beautiful young lady, she's being sent to prison with a big smile on her face. And guess what they quoted her? They said, "Why are you smiling? You're going to spend the next 20 years in jail." This is what a Southern Vietnamese person said to her at the outset of the war. And what she said was, "You think your government's going to last 20 years?" So this is the idea. When you have an infinite player play an infinite game, the system is stable. What are two examples? The United States, during the 1980s, the Cold War, they had nuclear weapons. They had the majority of them. Who were the other party that had the majority of the nuclear weapons? The former Soviet Union. So they played an infinite game. Neither was going to fire. It was just empty threats. Because if one fired, life as we know would end. This is a lot more complicated now because nuclear weapons, there's about 20 nations that have nuclear weapons. Supposedly North Korea does too. So it's very complicated. But in the 80s, it was majority by just these two countries, the United States and Russia. So the system is stable. They wouldn't play the game. What about a finite game? If you have two players in a finite game, if you and I are arm wrestling and one of us is trying to win, right, the system is also stable. But what happens if you have an infinite player versus a finite player? You get something that's called quagmire, confusion, disillusion. And it's not about winning or losing at that point. It's about who's going to quit. In reality, the United States did not lose the war. You can only lose if you play against a finite opponent. What did the United States do? They quit. They could not outlast an opponent that was willing to fight to the very last person, that was willing to sacrifice 15% of their entire population, that was willing to sacrifice almost 40% of the young male population willingly to play this game. So here's a question for you. Are you playing the right game? Do you even know what game you're playing? Well, what exactly is this idea? Let me skip this, and at least we'll go back to that in a second. So, Dr. James Carse was a scholar of religion and theology, and in 1986, many years later, he noticed his children. His children were playing. His specialty wasn't game theory. His specialty was theology. He taught at New York University. And he noticed that when his children played, sometimes they would fight. One would cry, and one would be happy. If you're a parent, you know exactly what this is like, right? But then he noticed other times his children would play, and they would both be happy. And then he noticed that when they were happy, they would play the game again. and again and again and again. They would keep playing. They would just stop where they left off and keep playing. And so in this idea, James Carse is a famous proponent of this idea of game theory, that in game theory, there's two types of games that we play. Well, what are the two types? In a finite game, you have known players, you have fixed rules that has a finish line, and the goal of the game is to win. The goal of the game is to win. So what's a finite game? Your favorite sport? Not mine, but your favorite sport? Cricket, right? There's winners and losers. The World Cup, we in America call it soccer, but you call it football. Football has winners and losers. What about card games, like poker, games like chess? These are finite games. War games are typically finite. War can be seen as both finite and infinite. Your job is a finite game. You're trying to get through the day, get through your KPIs, become number one. By the way, have you heard of a company, if you go to their website, maybe your company does this, and it says, we are number one in our industry, right? Do you care about that? Well, kind of. What if you were number one in a non-existent industry? What if you were the CEO of the number one ranked company in the world in this industry? You have no competitors. That might be impressive till I tell you that you're the CEO of a DVD rental company. Useless. Useless. That's a finite game. What's an infinite game? An infinite game has known and unknown players. New players can join at any time. It has no fixed rules. You can play however way that you want. And there's no end to this game. There's only ahead and behind. And your only choice in an infinite game is to enter or quit. What are some examples of infinite games? Religion. Nobody wins religion, right? I presume most of you are Hindu. Is there a winner between Hinduism and Islam? There isn't. Is there a winner between Islam and Christianity? There isn't. There's no such thing as winning in a religion. What about politics? A candidate may win, but politics itself, there's no winner. What about friendship? Do you win in friendship? You don't, but it's a game, right? And friends play, however, some of you, your best friend, all you do is insult each other, but they're your best friend. Some of you, your best friend, all you say is nice things. They're your best friend. The rules are different. Here's another infinite game, marriage. Okay. How long will you stay married? By the way, if you feel like you are winning in your marriage, you will eventually run out of the will and resources to play, and you will quit, because there's no winners in marriage. You're like, but Joseph, I feel like I'm losing every day in marriage. Well, that's something different, okay? That's something different if you feel like that. There's no winners in marriage. By the way, marriage has known and unknown players. It has no fixed rules. Some couples sleep in the same bed. Some couples sleep in different rooms. Some couples have a great marriage and they live in a different country. A lot of Indians, actually, right? But they have a good marriage. Some couples live together, sleep in the same bed, and they get a divorce 6 months later. So who's to say how you play the game of marriage? There's no fixed rules. There's no end to this game. Death may take out your ability to be in a marriage, but it doesn't mean the marriage ends. It doesn't mean your relationship ends. And there again, there's no winners and losers. The goal of marriage or friendship or politics or religion is not to win. Now here is what's interesting. James Carse is the one that came up with this idea. My boss, Mr. Simon Sinek, either borrowed it or stole it, depending on who you ask. But the idea, this is from James Carse, it's not from Simon. Simon's contribution to this is that business people don't realize that in business you're actually playing two games at the same time. You're playing two games at the same time. You're playing a finite game where you're trying to win, you're trying to make money, you're trying to dominate, you're trying to get market share. But you're also playing an infinite game, meaning that if all you ever did in your work was become number one, if that's all you ever did and you didn't do anything infinite, you would look back at your life as saying, I failed. Larry Miller, CEO of Miller, I think it's Miller Construction, but he's the owner of a famous basketball team in America called the Utah Jazz. He's worth about $4 billion, which is $4 billion more than me, but he's worth about $4 billion. And Larry Miller is in his late 60s now. And his children say, look, I don't hate my dad, I just don't know who he is. And Larry Miller, when he was being interviewed, says, sometimes I don't know what my life is about because all I've done is become successful in business. All I've done is become successful in business. Larry Miller is one of the most successful businessmen to have ever lived. He did not come from money. His parents were like middle class, like people. And he somehow amassed a fortune of $4 billion. And at the end of the day, he actually said he regrets his choices because all he played was the finite game. He was very good at it. Here's the problem, my friends, is that for most of us, we spend almost all of our energy on the finite game. But it's not important to us. But you spend your energy on it, right? So think about the KPIs that you have to hit. 3 very well-known letters to every accountant, right? Think about the KPIs that you have to hit. Imagine you hit it every single KPI in your life, every single one at work, and you eventually become the CFO of a company. And then you start your own company, and you IPO, and you make money beyond your wildest dreams, and you have everything, but your son hates you. By the way, this is a story that describes one of my friends. His son hates him. So he cut off himself from his father's family completely. You don't think this is going to happen to you? So it's very possible to play the finite game and to be very good at it and to suffer in the infinite game. And this is not just for individuals, it's for companies too. Too many CEOs and leaders don't know what game they're playing. So they repeatedly talk about being ranked number one. I'll tell you how misguided this is. I travel a lot. I travel to about 15 to 20 countries per year. You know, I work sometimes online, so I have about 30 to 40 clients per year, some of it my own company, some of it with the Optimism company like I am here today. So that means that I spend a lot of time in airports, more than anybody that I know. Last year, I went through a stretch where I spent about 3 weeks going through 5 different places. I started in Tokyo, Haneda. You ever been there? You go to Haneda Airport, I mean, it's literally the cleanest airport in the world. You go there, the service is great. You know, Japanese people have a great way of service. They take care of you. And I saw a sign that says #1 airport in the world. I believe them. Not in Asia, in the world. And from Haneda, I flew to Seoul, Incheon. Now, I lived in Seoul for about 8 years. My parents are South Korean, but actually, I was raised in Chicago, Illinois. So my parents are immigrants. And when I went to Seoul, Korea, if you go to Incheon Airport, I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you have a long layover, you know that you get a free tour of the city. If you like to play golf, you know that they have a golf course at the airport. They have a casino there, they have all these things, and it's all for, the golf is not free, but they'll take you to the golf course for free. You have a layover. They also had a sign, we are the #1 ranked airport in the world. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought Tokyo was ranked #1. Okay, well, maybe 2 different agencies. From there, I flew to Changi, Singapore, which is where I live right now. If you've ever been to Changi, Singapore, they have a $1.25 billion indoor waterfall. Okay, Dubai's waterfall is nice, but it's not like Changi, Singapore. I don't even know how many liters of water they put in, and it's automatically put up. That indoor garden is absolutely beautiful. If you've never been there, look it up. It's amazing. They had a sign, #1 ranked airport in the world. From there, I flew to here, Dubai. To my surprise, Dubai International Airport has a sign. We are the #1 ranked airport in the world. And I said, what about Changi? What about Seoul? What about Incheon? This airport is absolutely amazing. If you enter out from immigration, which I know you've done many times, it looks like the movie Lord of the Rings, right? It's like the silver hall of elves. And I feel like I'm entering just this amazing place. From here, I flew to Istanbul, Turkey. My 5th airport in 3 weeks. They also had a sign, we are the #1 ranked airport in the world. Now, every one of them is an excellent airport. Why can't they just say we're a great airport? Why do they say that we are #1? Because somebody ranked them on some metric decided by who? By them. I didn't agree that Dubai was #1. I didn't agree that Singapore was #1. Like you telling me your wife is the most beautiful woman in the world. Okay, maybe, probably not. You know, you think your son is the greatest son in the world? Probably not. And yet we do this all the time. We are applying finite standards when there's actually 2 standards. Now, I'm not saying the finite doesn't exist. It does. Somebody in this room is the richest person in this room. Don't raise your hand, by the way. Somebody in this room has the highest bank account. Somebody in this room has the highest number of investments. That also means that somebody in this room is the poorest person in this room. Somebody in this room has the absolute lowest bank account. We have objective measures. But what about for the infinite game? So here are some infinite values I want to tell you. Let's start with companies. Does your company make their workers feel important? That's an infinite value. I'll talk about this in a second. Do you have a metric for that? Does your company have a metric for employees who are offered higher pay? Maybe not 100%, but they're offered 15% higher salary for the same job. Nice, right? And your worker turns it down because I love working at my company. Why would I want to get paid 15% more when I love it here? Do you have a metric for that? You don't. And the reason you don't is that most of us, most organizations think we're only playing a finite game. What about your life? How do you judge your life? Do you judge it by the finite or the infinite? You know, to say one is short-term and one is long-term is not complete. It's correct, but it's not complete. What's the difference? The infinite is not just long-term. Long-term is this implication that I'll be able to get this benefit for the rest of my life, like a pension or a retirement plan. Infinite means these are things I believe in that will continue even when I die. Even when I die. It's why religion is infinite. It's why it's infinite even after I die. It's not just my life. So it's not just long-term, because long-term, again, unless you mean by long-term after your life, but most of us don't. Most of us, when we say long-term, we're talking about things like, I wish my marriage was long-term. I wish my health is long-term. I want to see the benefits. But to truly play an infinite game, those benefits come even when you're not here. You're working towards a goal that even if you're not here, you're actually working towards it. So this is what we're going to do today. Okay? I've given you kind of the setup. The infinite game, Simon identifies 5 practices. We're going to have a discussion on every single one of them. And because we're going to have a discussion, it's very important who you sit next to. Okay? So during our exercise, I'm going to give you a chance to switch if you'd like. It's generally more advantageous for you to sit with someone that you don't work with on a daily basis. If you and your spouse or best friends are at the same table, I actually recommend you switch so that you can hear other perspectives. You know, we have the committee here. Okay, maybe it's awkward, but I actually recommend you switch. Okay, not yet. I recommend you switch. And the reason is half the learning, I hope, is going to be coming from me. But the other half is coming from you. That I'm going to push you and I'm going to challenge you. Now here's something you get for free. I'm going to run these questions with you. I'm going to show you how to do it. And you could take every one of them. These are my questions, and I give them to you for free. Take it back to your teams, and you could lead discussions on that. And obviously, if you want more help, I'm always available. You can contact me. But you can take these questions and discussions back to your companies. And this is Chairman Rishi's vision. That this thing that you learned today is not just for today, but that you could take it to your companies and the impact will be widespread. Okay? All right, before we do that though, we're gonna play a little game, or more like a discussion. What I'm gonna have you do is, I'm gonna have you stand up, and I'm gonna give you 4 minutes, okay? So 2 minutes each person. I want you to talk about the single greatest moment, not of your life, but of your career. What is the single greatest moment of your career? Think about that for a second. If you were to, like, if someone were to write a book about you, what would be the single greatest moment of your career? Okay, the room's gonna get very loud, it's gonna be fun, but it's okay. You're not gonna share it with anyone, but what I want you to do is you're gonna stand up and find somebody that you don't know well. What's the definition of knowing someone not very well? Is that you don't know the name of their spouse. You don't know if they have kids. You don't really have any personal information about them. If there's someone like that, partner with them and share with them, this is the single greatest moment of my career. 2 minutes each, 4 minutes, okay? All right, let's everyone stand up. Stand up. I'll set my timer, 4 minutes. I have some, thank you, thank you. No, I asked them actually to stand on the outside, so. So, one of the interesting things, you know, I love this topic. And one of the reasons I love this topic so much is that typically when you ask someone what's been the highlight of your career, very rarely do you hear someone say it's because I won an award. Very rarely do you hear someone say it's because my company IPO'd and I was able to make $10 million. Very rarely do you hear it's because I did this or that. For most of us, the greatest moment of our career usually involves somebody else. Strange. How many of you, just by a show of hands, when you were sharing this question, that you mentioned someone else by name? Just out of curiosity. Raise your hands. Okay, this is actually a smaller number than I thought, because usually it's about 70%. Is that the single greatest moment of my career? It's because my boss believed in me. It's because my employees, man, I cannot believe they work so hard. It's because my mother, she believed that I could do this. I did it. Because my sister, who passed away from cancer, said, one day you're going to be CEO and found a company. She never got to see me. But when I became CEO, it's because she believed in me. And so for most of us, the single greatest moment often has to do with something infinite, not finite. And why is that? Well, it goes to practice number one, is a just cause. What is a just cause? A just cause is a specific vision of a future state. And this future state is so positive, it's so radiantly positive to you. Okay? It may not be so positive to others. It's so positive and appealing to you that you are willing to make sacrifices in order for that vision to become reality. What's the difference between purpose and vision or mission? So purpose, or what Simon calls your why, but it's just purpose, is a look back at your life. Your purpose is determined by your past, always. And it's why you've embraced it as your purpose. Maybe it's because of your DNA or whatever, but your purpose is a look back at your past. What is vision or a just cause? Is a look forward. It's always because I haven't done something. What is the difference between a just cause, a mission, and a vision? Okay? All just causes are a vision. Not all visions are a just cause. And the reason is that the just cause is a vision for your life, a vision for the future. It's so positive. It's so good. It's so appealing to you that you are willing to make a sacrifice for that. Some just causes are so powerful in your life that you'll give your life. You will. Think God. Think country. Think family. Money is not a just cause. You know how you know it's not a just cause? Is that most of us won't trade money for our life. You've seen the popular videos where someone says, hey, would you be happy with Warren Buffett's wealth? You know, Warren Buffett is the greatest investor in modern times. He's worth conservatively about 90 billion US dollars. They said it would actually be 300, but he's given most of it away already. Do you want Warren Buffett's wealth? Sure, I would. If you ask me, yeah, of course I would. Okay, but here's the catch, is that you have to become his age. He's 96. Anybody want $100 billion, but you have to be 96? What about 90? What about 80? What about 70? Okay, now think about this. What about 70? Okay, you would take being 70 years old. 70 is pretty close to the end, I asked my son this question. My older son just turned 21. And I said, if someone were to give you, I said 100 million, not even 100 billion, $100 million. But you have to be 30. Would you say yes or no? He didn't hesitate. He said, no way. And I'm like, well, your life must be pretty good that you wouldn't do that, right? Because a lot of people would. A lot of people would, I'm 54 today. Happy birthday to me. I'm 54, and I don't even know if I would take 100 million to be 55. It's not that I don't want 100 million. I would be happy with 1 million. I'd be happy with 100. No million. I would be happy with 100. It's not that I don't want that money. Do I want that money? I do. Okay, I really do. Do I want to double my salary? I do. Okay. It's not that I don't want that. It's that 1 year of my life at 54 is too valuable for me. More valuable to me than $100 million. Every year above 50, I see some of the gray hairs in this room, or some of us no hairs in this room. And every year, if you're over the age of 50 like me, would you trade? What amount of money would it take for you to trade 1 year of your life? 5 years of your life? 10 years of your life? No amount. Because your life is valuable. It's valuable. It's so precious that you wouldn't be willing to trade that. It's kind of crazy because I think most of us who are older would trade from going from 21 to 30 for $100 million. Most of us would. But not my 21-year-old son. Those 9 years to him are more valuable to him than any amount of money in the world. That's a wise 21-year-old, by the way. That's a wise 21-year-old. But here's the thing, is that we have a just cause in us. And this just cause, again, is so valuable that this just cause is worth it to trade your life for. Maybe not die, but to trade weekends, to trade extra hours, to trade putting up with a boss that you can't stand. To trade that. Why? Because you believe in it. You believe in it so strongly that you're willing to trade. That's a just cause. And a just cause, you know, is a powerful just cause when you're not the only one that shares a just cause. Your family cannot be a just cause. They cannot. You know why? Because other people aren't willing to sacrifice. If you get other people to sacrifice for your family, that's not a just cause. That's your own selfish desire. A just cause says, let's sacrifice together for our families together. One of the tenets of a just cause is if it's so positive that other people share this just cause. This is why cult leaders are funny, right? Because they have a just cause, but only they have that just cause. A true just cause, if it's positive enough, others share. Well, let me give you a few. Let's start with top left, Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor and a political reformer in my country, the United States. And he died the same year the Vietnam War basically started, 1968. And he has a very famous speech called the I Have a Dream speech. Some of you have never, maybe you're not even friends with a black person from America, but you know that speech. Because in that speech, he says, I have a dream that one day my 4 little children, his 4 children are black, that they will be able to what? They will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And in 1968, he gathered 1 million people. By the way, like those of us who are old enough to understand how crazy that is, right? My son, about 5 years ago, when he started learning how to drive, he told me, you know, Dad, how did you drive when you were my age? In America, we could drive at 16. How did you drive at my age? He's like, do you just memorize where all the places are? And I said, yeah, we had a map. You know, we had a Thomas guide. We put it under the seat. To my son, he doesn't ever think about where to drive. You know why? Because his mobile phone tells him exactly where to go. So imagine in 1968, that's 4 years before I was born, they gathered 1 million Americans through phone calls, through letters, through posters. They gathered 1 million Americans at Washington, D.C. to protest the mistreatment of black people in the United States, specifically black people. Blacks make up less than 10% of the population in America, about 8%. How many of those 1 million people were not black? 250,000. There were 250,000 white, Latino, and Asian Americans, just like me, who said, Dr. King, we believe what you believe. See, that's a true just cause. You have confirmation that your just cause is truly just if other people share those values. It's not the only metric, but it's one of the most powerful metrics, which is why being number one is not a just cause, because nobody shares that except for you. Your family is not a just cause. Nobody shares that except for you. You becoming richer, I hope you become richer. I really hope you become richer next year, but it's not a just cause, because nobody shares that except for you. A true just cause has people rallying around it. We have a test. Simon Sinek, who's a person, but before we were called the Optimism Company, this is actually, the name of our company was Simon Sinek. It was very confusing, right? We imagine a world in which the vast majority of people wake up inspired, feel safe wherever they are, and end the day fulfilled by the work that they do. This was so compelling. When Simon recruited me to join this company, I had to give up tenure. I was a tenured professor at a top-ranked, number one ranked business school in all of Korea. I had a cushy job, and he said, oh, by the way, I can't guarantee your salary. And I was a professor. I'm pretty sure I was making a lot less than anybody in this room. And I said, yes, because I believe in this. I believe in inspiring and helping people at work. That made me so excited that I left a full tenured job. I was guaranteed employment till 65 with a pension. Do I regret it? Some days. I gave up that guarantee. Why? Because this is so moving to me. And if I had never given that up, I would never experience this. So that's the idea. The State Bank of India, Om Bhatt. I don't know if that's a name that's familiar to you. He's an Indian man. When I was a student at Harvard Business School, he came to speak. And he started his line with this. For 4 years straight, I was the lowest paid Fortune 500 CEO in the world. And it's true. He was the single lowest paid Fortune 500 CEO in the whole world. He was the single lowest paid top 500 Indian company guy for almost 10 years straight. This is their vision, State Bank of India. And he is the one that really changed it to make sure, ensuring every citizen has a trusted partner to safeguard and fuel their economic destiny. Because until regulations really started challenging Indian banks, as you know very well, Om Bhatt was a leading figure. And how did he lead his employees? He led them as someone who said, look, I can't give you more money. I can't. But I'm going to walk with you by lowering my salary. I'm also going to do, he did something that was unheard of for an Indian CEO. You know what he did? He visited the top 100 branches in all of India, of the State Bank of India. And of course, there's too many people for him to talk to, and he says, I'm going there to listen to you. So he went to these branches in Chennai. He went to these branches in Hyderabad and all these different places. He went into the bank, he sat down, he wasn't saying anything. And for 1 hour per branch, that's 100 hours of a CEO's time, he allowed the employees to complain to him and speak to him. He didn't answer them, but he said, I promise I will listen. He did this in person, not on Zoom. Why? Because ensuring every citizen has a trusted partner, it started with his employees. It wasn't just the outside. And this is why the State Bank of India for so many years was very beloved, because of him. And the leadership that he showed is that every person's voice matters. I was so inspired by Om Bhatt, so inspired by him. He's a man that I only met for about 20 minutes, and I was so honored to shake his hand because he actually believed in this just cause. He really believed it. The Tata Group. Now, I know Tata Group has some controversies. To advance human dignity and societal well-being. The Tata Group does something that's unheard of for an Indian company. You know that the Tata Group doesn't recruit heavily from IIT. They don't recruit from the top Indian business schools. And do you know why? The Chairman Tata, he actually like said this. He said it's because those of us who go to the best institutions, we are entitled. We feel we deserve something. He said, but those who come from mid-tier schools are often from more rural areas who had to rise up to get there. So, like, imagine a middle-level Indian MBA program, right? Just imagine. You could look at it two ways. India is, along with China, two of the most competitive countries in the world. I don't need to tell you this, okay? You can't get anywhere in India without basically fighting your way through. He said, if you're from the upper class, the mid-tier is a step down, and because it's a step down, you won't take it. If your family's wealthy and you didn't get into a top Indian school, you probably think it's better that you don't go to that school. This is a very common Indian way of thinking, I heard. But what about those kids from rural areas whose parents were like State Bank of India employees who work for the government? If they get into a mid-tier, by Indian standards, they're mid-tier. What happens if they get into this school? The whole town celebrates. Our son got into this MBA program. So Tata, what he wanted to do was, not only did he want to reward them, he thought that the kind of person that would be excited about going to that school is the kind of person that would be excited about learning, would be excited about doing this, to advance human dignity. Very powerful. It's very powerful. I don't know what the Tata group's like now. It's been a while since I followed them. But this, even strategic recruiting for Tata, I think, what's his name? Rajan Tata? I don't know. Yeah. So, it's such a visionary thing to do. How could you not recruit from IIT? You're Indian. The IIT is literally the most competitive school in the world. Harder to get in than Harvard Business School by numbers. Way harder. And yet, he doesn't recruit from there. You won't see Tata, marketing strategies to recruit from IIT. You won't. By the way, Google recruits from there, but not the Tata group. So again, because this has to do with his just cause. So here's a question for you. Many of you think, look, Joseph, do I really need a just cause? Isn't that just for, powerful people? I'm just an ordinary salary man or salary woman. I'm just a regular person. Why do I need a just cause? And the reason you need one is this. The goal in life is to find a vision worthy with which we identify. It does not necessarily come up with a vision. By the way, if you can come up with a vision and have thousands of followers, please do it. I would be very happy if you did it. But why is this vision important? The goal in life is not to invent a vision, but it's to identify and come up with a worthy vision, which is why religious groups are so powerful. Religious groups are so powerful. It's not your vision. There's probably not many Buddhists in here, but if you're a Buddhist, it's not your vision. If you're a Christian, it's not your vision. If you're Muslim, it's not your vision. If you're a Hindu, it's not your vision. You didn't come up with it. You didn't. You didn't come up with any of it. And yet, you found it worthy to give your life for. You found it worthy to give your life for. The goal in life is to find a vision. And how do we find a vision? It's our just cause. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our first breakout. And I want you to you don't have to answer all these questions, but as a group, per table, I want you to attack some of these questions. First is, why are you in your job? And it's okay to say, because I'm getting paid a lot. That's okay, But be open for once in your life. Why are you in this job? It's also okay to say, because I have no other options. That's okay too, okay? That's an honest answer. Why are you in your job? What are the just causes with which you identify? What's important to you? What's so important to you that you think other people will also find that important? So your increased salary is not a just cause. Your company being number one is not a just cause. What's the world you imagine? What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of world do you want for your children and your children's children? What kind of world do you want? And lastly, if you can get to it, This is the highest level question. How does your organization's work fit into your just cause? If your just cause aligns with your work, that is a job that has meaning. If it doesn't align with your work, you are what I call a corporate ninja. You know what a ninja is? The Japanese word for assassin. You are a corporate ninja. You will leave the moment you get a higher salary. And by the way, I'm not judging you, that's okay. But it just means that your work is not about meaning, it's about money only. And if it's about money only, are you going to give your heart, your blood, your sweat, your tears? You won't. Why should I? They're not paying me enough to. Why would you want to work on a weekend? Why? Why would you want to do more than what is required of you? Just cause. A just cause will push you to do things that are uncomfortable because why? Because you believe in it. Because you believe in it. Because you believe in it. Okay, so it's a big room, and I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to give you 8 minutes. It's not a lot of time, okay? So get with your group, and I want you to appoint one person per table that's going to be the representative. So I want to hear back from you, and this one person is the person that's going to basically be your voice throughout the rest of the day, okay? Anybody, anybody, anybody. So that's why I said, I didn't say your employer, I said your organization, right? You could be the founder, by the way. You could be the CEO, the founder, whatever. But how does it fit into your just cause? And again, what I don't want you to say, it's because I'm getting paid so well there. You know, that's not a just cause. You can just talk about your life. How does your life right now? Maybe you're a stay-at-home mother, or maybe if you're in between jobs, you can talk about your previous organization. And again, like, you don't have to be an employee to be able to answer this question, right? Just like the work that you're doing now. Okay, I have some volunteers who are gonna help me corral. If you need to go to the bathroom, please go right now, come back. We only have 8 minutes, let's get to it. I'll set the timer, 8 minutes, and I wanna hear back from you, okay? They said, what's the difference between a cause and a just cause? What's the difference? A cause is the bigger set. Just cause is more specific. So for example, you educating your children, giving them the best education they can, that's your cause. But it's not a just cause, because I don't share that. But if you say, for example, that I want all children to have equal opportunity, that's a just cause. Does that make sense? So just cause is big so that other people want to join your cause, whereas my own cause, right, I have causes. Getting paid more, is that a cause? Yeah, it is. But it's not a just cause, because he doesn't care if I get paid more. But he cares if we compete fairly. That's a just cause. As accountants, right? You know this idea, the standards apply to every company, whether you're a big or small company. Is that a just cause? It is, because it impacts everybody, okay? So that's the difference. You can have a cause without it being a just cause. Okay, so let's hear from some of the groups. Are my volunteers here? Please get ready. Okay? Get your microphone ready. All right. If we could settle down, we have many other questions to talk about. Okay? Let's get a volunteer. What group wants to share some of their just causes? So one person per group. Is there any group that volunteers? What's the first group that wants to share? Give me your name and then talk about what your group discussed.
Okay, my name is Lalit Shah, and we are 10 or 11 of us.
Could you turn up the volume a bit? I can't hear. Or maybe people need to quiet down so I could hear. Go ahead.
Okay. In my group, the majority of the people, they replied on the first question, why are you in your job, is to pay the bills, to run the household and fulfill the responsibilities.
Yeah.
This is how.
Say that again. I couldn't hear that second part. Go ahead. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. Is to pay the bills and to run the household and the responsibilities.
Yeah.
That's why
you're in your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did your group discuss with some of the just causes that they identified with? What was important to them?
They said live ethically and take care of employees, and we are just discussing it.
Yeah. So what he said is very common. Taking care of your employees. Who decides that? Who decides whether you're taking good care of your employees?
His value.
It's actually both, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the employee, because sometimes employees are unreasonable. But it's a combination. Usually, taking good care of your employees, usually bosses or leaders, what's the only thing they do? They only use standard metrics, right? In our industry, this is what we do. We're top 1%. Who cares? Maybe your industry is terrible. You know? Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much. I was in the northern part of Malaysia, and there's a famous area there called the Genting Highlands. The Genting Highlands is the tea area of Malaysia. And the people that work there are always people from Myanmar. And they're people from Myanmar that are of the lowest level. So there's a joke there that this job is so hard and low paying that even the Indians won't work there. It's a joke, but not really, because that tells you an Indian will work anywhere, but they won't work there. You know why? Because it's back-breaking work for about $9 per day. It's back-breaking work. Men, women, and children as young as 14. Okay? Why am I telling you this? Well, they're paid those wages because they can, right? They're paid those wages they can, and the Burmese people that work there, they need the money, so they work there. But I want to tell you that nobody who works for that pay likes it there. Like, you want to work back-breaking work for $9 a day? I mean, it's so the only people that will work there, because the Malaysian government has this open call, are a small tribe of these Burmese people. Now, this is what I want to tell you, is that, yes, they're not well paid, but somebody told me, because I noticed that there's like half tents, they live in tents, and then there's half huts. Some Malaysian decided that it doesn't matter if they get paid $9 a day, they should not have to sleep in wet tents. So somebody raised money, so they made these shelters, so that at least when it rains a lot in Malaysia, basically, not like here. It rains every other day. And they made these covers so that they could at least sleep and it's not in the rain. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but what he just said about employees, I actually talked to one of the employees and I said, what do you think about this? And they said, we're so thankful that somebody thought about us. They didn't say, we're so thankful we have a great job. Do you understand? He said, we're so thankful that somebody thought about us. Somebody thought about us. And so that's what I'm saying is that taking care of your employees is a both and, right? Are they doing a good job? I don't know if they're doing a good job. But you could tell some Malaysian thought, hey, we can't treat them like this. Can't treat them like this because we want them to do well, because if they do well, then actually I get paid more. It's good for me. So this is what I mean is that, raising the standard for employees is not just the employees, it's not just the employer. Thank you. Somebody else? Okay, volunteer here. Okay, what did your group, I'm mostly interested in what your group talked about for just causes. What were some just causes?
So in our group, the common consensus was to find an independent identity and financial independence that was most they find and relate with their job. The just causes are mostly what the other gentleman said, if they can align with the human-centric values and serve in an organization which relates to the human, physical and mental aspects of the growth. And the world we can imagine is where we are not input into a production system, but we are really contributing and the organization is also contributing for our growth. That is what everyone is aligned. And yeah, part of it is the organization is wanting to create that kind of a culture, but given the number of employees and the faces, head counts, it is difficult to address everyone.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you, by the way. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, somebody else.
Hi. So we were fortunate to have some entrepreneurs as well on our table. So we have money as a motivation, but we have other characteristics as well. So one of the motivation was for providing employment and getting as many people jobs so that nobody goes hungry at the end of the day. And somebody else is a yoga instructor and they believe in finding their Zen. So she left her corporate job because she believed in the higher purpose that in finding your inner peace is more important and being happy and content is more important than just your bank balance.
Yeah.
So they have their why are we in the job, which is bigger than money.
Very good, very good. Very nice. Okay. All right, somebody else. What's important to you? Go ahead.
Thank you. The view of the table is divided slightly.
Wait, could you hold the mic a little bit away? I can't hear you because of the feedback.
Entrepreneurs and some of them are working for the company. So people working for the company, they feel more productive because they are more content with the job. They give their best, and when they see their decisions, when they see their reports are being used for the decision making, they feel quite content and happy with the environment as well. The employers, the environment that they provide, they are quite happy with that. And for the consultants who are in the business, who are the owners of the company, they feel happy when they go with a good decision, which is a suggestion or advisory, which is given to the client. They are very happy about it. Money being aside, that this gives them more satisfaction than any other thing. So those are some causes.
Very good. Let's give him a round of applause. Let me talk about one of the things he said, two important things. One of this is that the employee was happy because the employer used their report. If you were to actually summarize this, what he's talking about is recognition. That your just cause, the employer's just cause is, look, I want to be recognized for my work, and I want other people to be recognized for their work. Now, I don't know what that's like. You don't know what that's like, but you know what it's like to work a meaningless job with no recognition? It doesn't matter the pay. With no recognition. Most of us would hate that kind of work, going through that every day. If I told you, right, again, that you will get paid $10 million a year, okay, but you have to spend 18 hours a day, every day, inside a box. Here's the catch. You have to do it for at least 10 years. Would you do it? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You know? Could you sacrifice for 1 year? Maybe. 5 years? Maybe. 10 years? No way. No way. And so this idea is that we want to be recognized for our work. We want to be recognized. How many of you have been recognized by a peer, a boss, and you said, man, this feels so good I want other people to experience the same thing. The moment you think, I want someone else to experience this, that becomes a just cause, by the way. If you think, oh, this is amazing, I want to make 2 times my salary, it's not a just cause. It's not a just cause because you can't take other people with you. And so what this gentleman said, same thing with the employers as well, right? Like you feel good. Now here's the thing. One thing to be careful about is being happy is not a metric for a just cause. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, do you think he was happy? I don't think he was. I think he had a very sad life. But he believed in this just cause. So be very careful. Sometimes happiness and just cause connect. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes there are people who may not be day-to-day happy, but because they believe in it, and at the end of the day, they become happy at the end of their life. Here is something important for you to think about if you are a parent, or if you're not a parent, you have parents, right? If you are a parent, what is the finite game you play? They got to go to school. They can't hurt themselves. You know? They have to not commit a crime. They can't be lazy. Like, these are the finite games. When they become adults, what do you talk about your child? You talk about how they were number 1 in all their classes? You don't. You talk about things like, you know, she's really a good person. He helps so many other people. He contributes so much to his work and the people around him. So we care about infinite values more than we care about finite. But here's the thing is that most of our time is spent on the finite. And this is where we get confused. At the end of your life, how many of you are going to be talking about how you were the number 1 ranked company in the world? None of you. None of us. Nobody goes to their grave thinking, yeah, I was top 10 in my company for salary. Or if they do, that's kind of strange, right? Like, people don't do that. So think about your children again. What's the finite? The finite is school, grades, their salary. Are they contributing, whatever? What's the infinite? Values. Are they a good person? Are they helping other people? Like, that's what we care about, you know? That's what we care about. Next one. This one is so important that we'll do this. I'll talk about this, and then we'll do our discussion after lunch. The first 2 will take a bulk of our time. The next 3 are a lot shorter. So what is building a trusting team? It's to create an environment in which people can operate at their natural best. Now, that's not a controversial statement, but if you divide every business school professor, thought leader, anyone who's published in the field of leadership, I'm one of them. I'm an author of 2 books that nobody here in this room has read. And I'm writing a 3rd book right now on trust, which pretty much nobody in this room will read. But it doesn't matter, because every thought leader like me, or like my boss Simon Sinek, every thought leader, you can put them into 2 groups. One group, Group A, believes that leadership, effective leadership, is much more about the individual person. Not 100-0, but it might be 60-40. That you need a great leader to drive initiatives. In 2001, there was a man by the name of Jim Collins. He wrote a book called Good to Great. It was very influential in the United States. You may not have heard of him or his book, but you've heard his catchphrase. The most famous quote from that book is, "Get the right people on the bus." And what he means is that if you get the right kind of person driving the bus, they will take everybody in the bus to the place where they want to go. So he is a proponent of A. Okay? I don't know if he's 60-40, 55-45, but he believes leadership is very much leader-centered. Okay? I am in the group B camp, which is the same camp as my boss, Simon Sinek. And what is the B camp? The B camp is a leader is defined not by his or her personality or character traits. The leader is much more defined by the environment created by the leader. And there's a big difference. okay? So again, it's not 100-0. It might be 60-40, 70-30. If you're B, like Simon Sinek or me, you believe that once the environment is created and I leave, it will do just as good a job as if I'm there or not. It's not controversial, but there are people who really believe that strong leaders need to be present. And then there's other people, again, I'm in this camp, is that the leader's job is to create this environment. It's the environment that's doing the work. Now, the leader is important in creating the environment, but the one doing the work is the environment. This is a powerful example. Let me share with you something from my life. My father passed away about 2 months ago, and my father is an immigrant from South Korea. When my father left South Korea in 1969 or 1970, South Korea had the 185th economy out of 220 countries in the world. South Korea is like number 9 now, or 10, you know? So my father left South Korea as a very poor, poverty-stricken country, not that different from Myanmar. And the Korea that exists now, a Korea that my father doesn't know, is very wealthy. So when I was a teenager, and obviously I had only gone to American schools, my parents spoke to me in Korean at home, but I didn't speak Korean at school. I went to preschool, kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to my PhD in the United States. And we were American citizens. And so, like, my father, when I was a teenager, tried to sit me down and try to talk to me about my values. And he said, Joe, in the Kim family, we believe this. And I specifically remember me saying, you know, Dad, I never agreed to that. You're from Korea. I'm born here. Like I don't know Korea, and I didn't. I didn't know anything about Korea. I only knew the Korea that my parents created in their house. I said, those are your values, not mine. And I remember being very angry as a 13-year-old teenager that my father tried to force me to believe what he believed. Fast forward about 30 years later. I was on a trip with my 2 sons who were like maybe 7 and 10. We were driving around Japan back when I lived there. And in the car, my younger son's name is Evan, and Evan is like a wild boy, My younger son is just wild, and he became a super athlete. He's a baseball player. He's taller than me, and I'm pretty tall for Korean, and he's taller than me. And my little wild boy says to me, Dad, this is what I believe, and he's kind of like telling me stuff, and I said, Evan, in the Kim family, this is what we believe. And I didn't even realize I said it till Evan, who was only 7, said, no, Dad, that's what you believe. And I said, holy crap, I have the same values as my dad. Like, he never taught it to me, but he created the environment. My father worked 3 different jobs when he first came to the United States. He worked a morning job as a delivery guy. He worked the afternoon at a store. And then he did work for UPS, another delivery. And then he went to his MBA classes from 7 to 10 p.m. My father made minimum wage all 3 of those jobs. In fact, our family, the US government, considered us poor enough that I was in the bottom 10% of my school, that I was given a card so that I could get free breakfast, free lunch. And because of my father's sacrifice, by the time I was in high school, my father owned not 1, not 2, 3 commercial properties that he was renting out. The man literally built up our family with his hands. He didn't talk much, but every step of the way, I remember people coming to our house. Every step. We always had Chinese, some Indian. So my father felt a compassion for international students. So they would be at our house almost every single week. My mom would cook some Korean dinner. And so as a young boy, I was very used to accents, which is why it's very easy for me to travel in India. I was just used to people from another country speaking. So my father modeled to me that, Joe, there's a lot you can learn, and we should help other students because I was helped. It's the environment. So one of the things we see, I'm going to ask you a question. We know that inspiration and trust, building a trusting team is important. Inspiration and trust is important to an environment, okay? Let me ask you a question. If you had a team that was highly, highly inspiring with an inspirational leader, but that had no trust, would that team survive? Okay, this is the easy question. No. Okay, I'm going to ask you a harder question, and I want you to think about this from your experience. What about the other way? What if you had a team that was low on inspiration, no inspiration, boring leader, maybe your typical quiet accountant type, you know? No inspiration, but high on trust. In your experience, okay, just think, don't answer so quickly. Would that team survive? Could they thrive? Boring leader, looks uncaring. No charisma, looks like they have no leadership. Could that team thrive? Okay, no, think, don't answer so quickly, please. I love the passion of Indian people, but they answer very quickly. Okay? Think before you answer. Think about your own life. If you had a leader that was uninspiring, but the team had trust, could that team survive? Could that team thrive? Here's the answer. I've asked you an impossible situation. There's no such thing as a team that has no inspiration but is high on trust. You know why? Because trusting teams always look to each other as the source of inspiration. It's not possible for you to have a trusting team, not possible for you to have trust in somebody but have no inspiration. Not possible. And this is why we believe in trust. So look at this diagram. I love this diagram. This diagram says this: inspiration is the wind, trust is the boat. Right? If you have no trust, it sinks. Well, what if I have no wind? Well, if you have trust, guess what? You have wind. How many of you worked a job that you hated? You didn't like the CEO, you didn't like your company, you didn't like the objectives, you didn't like the benefits, but you stayed at this job because you loved your coworkers. A lot of us. How many of you worked a job like my father for 8 years that you hated? You know, my father went to the United States to get an MBA, and he cleaned toilets, he lifted boxes. He was a big man. My father was a 5th degree black belt in judo. He was a judo instructor, and he kind of transitioned to business. How many of you worked a job that you disliked because your trusting family needed you to? Everybody in this room. So we put our trust in trust. You know why? Because if you put your values in trust, this is basically the main tenet of my next book. If you put your values in trust, inspiration comes automatically. But if you try to do it the other way and reverse inspiration, it doesn't work. I have so many leaders say, look, Joe, I'm not charismatic. I'm not like a speaker like you. I'm not exciting. I don't have anything to share. I'm kind of shy. You know, and frankly, I don't care about people that much. You know? And they say, how do I lead a team? And I say this: build an environment where people trust one another. When I see a brother, a sister, brother, when I see siblings have a great relationship as an adult, right? When I see siblings having a great relationship, I don't think, what a wonderful brother, what a wonderful sister. You know what I think? I think these two had wonderful parents, because the parents created an environment. They created an environment where the siblings could trust one another. I am a fan of MMA. You know, MMA is the fighting sport. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I train. And if you saw the recent fight, there was a very famous Spanish-Georgian fighter named Ilia Topuria, and he's a warrior, and he was losing. And his face was all beat up, but he's a fighter, so he said, I want to go on, I want to go on. His brother is his trainer. Ilia Topuria was 18 fights, 0 losses. He's the highest paid mixed martial artist in the world. He gets $15 million per fight. And this was going to be his first loss. It was going to impact his income, impact his future. His brother, who was his trainer, looked at his brother, his younger brother, and said, we're done. So it's called, he basically quit. And it's because he saw his brother's face was so destroyed. The brother wanted to fight, but the other brother said, we're done. Why would he do that? Trust. Trust. This is what happens when we get trust. When you get trust, people get along. If you are a leader and you create a trusting team, your team will automatically care for each other. Those of you who've created an environment for your children, if your children have a good relationship with one another, it's because of you, not them. Let me say this again because this is powerful. Your children have a good relationship with one another. It's most likely because of you. You set the environment, the rules, the groundwork. If you look and think about what it means to build a trusting team, there's 4 levels. Okay? I want to spend almost all my time on number 1. We Asians get this wrong, actually, as a culture. So these are the 4 levels. Each is like a house. You can't get to number 2 unless you do number 1. The single most important quality in a trusting team is a circle of safety. What exactly is a circle of safety? We're talking about psychological safety. Humans have always structured ourselves in a team. I don't know who's the strongest fighter in this room is, but let's say it's you. How would he do against a gorilla? Not very well, right? But what if there was 10 random people in this room and I gave you time to prepare? How would you survive against 10 gorillas? Pretty well, actually. Studies have shown that 10 random people with no fighting training, if they have time to prepare, they could actually win against 10 gorillas in a fight. And that's because we humans have always worked in teams. So the idea of circle of safety is this, is that if I'm in the circle, I'm given a voice, not an equal voice. If I'm his boss and I have 25 years experience and he has 5 years, is my voice worth more than his? Yes. If I have 25 years and he has 5 years experience, do I know more than him? Yes, but I don't know everything more than him. And the idea of the circle of safety is I know more than you, but I don't know everything more than you. But you also get a voice. If you have a child that's about 6 or 7, they start telling you things that you didn't know. Mom, did you know that penguins did this and this? And you're thinking, I have no idea, you know? I remember the first time my son said, Dad, do you know that there are turtles that live to 300? I had no idea. There's turtles that live 300 years. They start knowing things. They know different things than you do because of their experience. Your team is the same way. The circle of safety means I get a voice. If I don't get a voice, I'm not feeling safe. Number 2 is vulnerability. This is really important. Once you get safety, what's the next level? It's vulnerability. There's a British sociologist by the name of Robin Dunbar. You can look him up. His research basically showed that humans cannot have more than 150 stable social relationships, called the Dunbar number. So it doesn't matter your IQ, doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or extrovert, doesn't matter your training, doesn't matter your wealth, you could be rich or poor. The average human can only have about 150 stable social relationships. So these are 150 people that you care about. Like, I say, how's your mother doing? Because I care about him. I want to know about his mother. I want to say, how's your daughter doing? I remember she was sick. Or, how's your foot? I see you limping over there. You know? Like, we care about this person. You can only have 150 of those. There's somebody in this room that probably has a genius level IQ. Probably. It's not me. But somebody in this room has a genius level IQ. You cannot have more than 150. There's somebody in this room that has maybe the lowest IQ in this room. You cannot have more than 150. It doesn't scale with age. Doesn't scale with education. It doesn't scale with experience. Now, why is this important? If somebody is in your circle of safety, they are inside that 150. So, there's an easy metric. If you are an employee, do you know anything about your boss's family? Do they know that your mother is sick? Do they know that you got scammed out of a lot of money? Even though you're an accountant, you got scammed. And that you're fighting through bankruptcy? Do they know? Okay, I'm a professional speaker, but I was born with a blood condition, so my hands actually shake. The only people that know my hands shake, unless I take medication, are people that know me. I don't share this information with them, unless you start looking at my hands. By the way, don't look at my hands, but if you look at my hands, it's because I have this physical condition. So, think about the people in your life. If you know something about your coworkers, your team, then they're in the 150. In other words, they're in the circle of safety, and now they can trust you. If you try to get trust without this social vulnerability, you cannot. If your boss says, hey, I want you to work overtime this week, right? And you're an employee, or maybe you're an employer, I want you to work overtime this week. And your boss doesn't even know that you're married, you're not gonna work overtime. You'll say, and you're gonna go home and play video games. Why? Why should you? But if I know something about him and we have a relationship, and let's say his name is Jack, I said, Jack, look, we're really, the CEO is really pushing me, and I'm gonna work too. Is it okay if I ask you to come in with me? He'll say yes, simply because of our relationship. Haven't you done that? Haven't you worked harder because somebody else needed you? That's the power of vulnerability. And my friends, let me apologize if I'm too direct. Some of you employers on your team have no idea, you have no idea some of the team members' children are suffering. You have no idea if someone just buried their own father like I did. You have no idea that this young lady or young man that you've been working with is going through a divorce. And you know why you have no idea? Because of number one, you have not created the circle of safety. That is your fault. It's your fault. Just like I praise the parent if they created a good environment for the children, if you are not part of that 150 for the direct team you work with, I'm not talking about the whole company, but the direct team, if you are the leader, it's your fault. Because vulnerability, my friends, listen carefully, is a choice. Nobody can force you. I cannot force him to tell me about his sick mother. I can't. I say, here, I'm going to give you $200. Can you tell me about your family? He won't. He'll only tell me if he feels what? Safe. But what's important here? It's safety. Candor with care is just the idea of feedback, that you need to be candor. You got to be direct and care. Living the culture is simply the idea that if someone is part of a powerful culture, they will say we. They won't say the company. I've done more than 10 engagements with Google all over the world, from California all the way to Korea, to Japan, to Indonesia, to Singapore, Australia. And when I work with Google, any Google employee that's been there 10 years, they use the word we. And why do they do that? Because the majority of Googlers leave after 5 years. Because Google looks good on their resume. But if you stay at Google, most likely you could get paid better somewhere else. But you stay at Google because you believe in the vision of Google, which is why you don't say Google, you say we believe this. Sound familiar? My father, James Kim, who said, Joseph, we believe this. And the idea is that if you create this environment, people end up trusting. You can't force them to trust, but they trust because the environment does the work. Very quickly, I want to share with you this chart, and then we'll have our lunch break. This trust comes not from Simon Sinek or me. It comes directly from the United States Navy. And in the United States Navy, the single greatest performing team for the United States Navy are the Navy SEALs. Have you heard about them? It is the most difficult soldier elite unit of the US military. What they figured out was that it takes 9 months to become a Navy SEAL. The first 6 months, 90% of the people quit. They expected that. What they didn't expect was the last 3 months, which is easier than the last 3 months, 50% of the people quit. So if you start with 100 people, 90 quit, you have 10, out of the 10, 5 quit in the last 3 months. And the Navy said, why is that? Why are they not quitting during the hardest portion, but they're quitting during the easier portion? And so they did the research, and this is what they figured out. The Navy SEALs figured out that once you meet a minimum standard, once you meet that standard, your long-term performance is much more tied to the trust you have in your teammates than it is to your own ability. So look at the top left, the bottom left, the low performer of low trust. Nobody wants that person. Everybody wants the top right, the high performer of high trust. The US Navy has figured out that the bottom right, the low performer of high trust, outperforms the top left. And here's the crazy thing is they say this applies not only to soldiers, it applies to accountants. So I don't know what the standard for you is, but in the US we have the CPA exam. Let's say pass is 70, right? So if you get a 70 on the CPA exam, you are a low performer initially. You are. If you get a 99, you're a high performer. According to this chart, according to the Navy SEALs, the 70 will outperform the 99 on a test if they have the trust of their teammates. And you see there's practical reasons for this. You know the typical high performer of low trust, you know what that person's like? They're usually someone of high IQ that doesn't help anybody else. Why? Well, why should I help you? You know? Why should I help you? I'm a lot smarter than you. It's easier for me to just do the work rather than help you. You know people like this? If you don't know anyone like this, maybe you're like this. No, I'm just kidding. You know? The idea is that the high performer relies on himself or herself only. But what does a trusting person do? A trusting person recognizes, look, I can't do this by myself. I'm going to help you, and I need you to help me. It's like an exchange. We have this agreement. And that's why the high performer of low trust in the long term starts underperforming, because they start relying only on their own efforts. Whereas the low performer, by low performer, I don't mean unqualified. Okay? Does everyone get this? The low performer is that they met the standards to be an accountant. Some of you, when you took your accounting test, you got 70. You barely passed. Some of you got 99, maybe even 100. But I have good and bad news, is that it doesn't matter what score you get, that in the long term, it's this. It's trust. Because if I trust him and he asks me to do something, I'll say yes, not because of the work. It's because I trust him. My boss believes in me. My boss thinks I'm capable. He has my trust. If I don't trust him, my boss asks me to do this, you know what I'm thinking? What a selfish jerk. You know, he just wants to pass on the work to me. By the way, if you think your boss is selfish and always giving you tasks, it's because you don't trust him. If you trust him or her, you're going to be thinking, this is a great opportunity. If you're a boss and you give a task to someone and they're constantly saying no to you, it's most likely because they feel you don't trust them. This guy's always trying to push work onto me. You know the kind of person I'm talking about? Like they don't want to do it, so they just want to like pass it on to you, and then they get all the credit. This is the idea of trust. Okay, so we're going to break for lunch, but before we do that, I want to put the question up. We'll gather after lunch, and we'll have our discussion on this. So for the next discussion, I want you to think of an example where trust eroded in the relationship. What did they do? Now think of any relationship where trust increased, where you didn't trust them at first, but you started to trust them more. What did they do? Go back as far as you remember. Doesn't matter from work or personal life. Here's the important part. We are not mind readers. All we observe are actions. Actions. You know, it's weird that as leaders, we think that people can read our mind. We say stuff like, you know my heart. Well, how the hell am I supposed to know your heart? Have you ever had a leader say that? Or they go, you know me. And I think, I don't know you. I don't even know your daughter's name. How could I know you? I don't even know that you're married. I don't know you. But people say stuff like this. Leaders say this all the time. You know me. Well, we don't. We don't know you. Because we're not mind readers, right? So what behaviors did they show? We're going to take 1 hour for lunch. We start a little later. We'll take 1 hour for lunch. We'll come back at exactly 1 hour from now, and then we'll do our discussion. Same table, same people. Have a great lunch. We'll see you in an hour.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Please take your seats, get ready. And Joseph is all set to start the session. But before that, we did some yoga exercises. We wanted to declare the winners. So I'd like to request Chirag and Yasha also to please join on the stage. And Parika. Chirag, Yasha, Parika. Achha, give them a big round of applause, everyone.
I request
Yoga
Mahendra
exercise.
Bhai also.
योगा एक्सरसाइज इन्होंने कराई हैं, so they did the effort. Please, आ जाओ. Ashna, let's announce the winners, please.
So first of all, thank you very much. They have been helping us in the fitness challenge as volunteers, and they stepped up today for this drive. We had different challenges, as you saw. Some were plank, some were Surya Namaskar. And we all participated, but we all failed. But the winners for today are Mahesh Prabhuji for plank.
Though he has given a tough competition by me, but ultimately he was the winner.
But amazing, he defines that age is not a factor. Fitness does not come just by age. So please, hats off to him and very big round of applause.
And I request that the fitness team, the volunteers themselves to hand over this gift from our side to Mahesh ji.
The next winner is Dipti, again for plank. Ooh.
She did the plank for almost 30 minutes. Parika, please join.
Just before we believe that she actually did for 30 minutes, let's get back to reality. The next is Surya Namaskar challenge. It's none other than Satish.
He did Surya Namaskar for 101 times. How many times?
101 बार.
108.
Okay. The toughest one, what with 3 rounds, with levels increasing every now and then. And the winner is none other than Rishi Rathi.
Going to be noted is, whoever is wearing our ICAI t-shirt is the winner, huh?
So as I ask you that we will do one stress-busting yoga in the beginning of the session. So how many of you remember that the last time I have given you one mantra? Remember? No, that was the Nidrasan that you don't need to do, but yes, that is a one stress managing mantra. How many of you know that Gayatri mantra? Raise your hands. Okay, quite good numbers, but okay, this is not the Gayatri mantra. You have to just repeat after me. It's just to manage the stress. Okay, first of all, close your eyes. I can easily see the open your eyes, so I can ask you, please close your eyes. Okay, and chant after me. Whenever you are in a great stress, okay, just follow this mantra and just repeat after me. Om ignorai namaha. And Sushant ji is smiling actually. We did something last week and we apply this actually. And anyways, when this mantra it doesn't work, there is one more powerful mantra. Again, you want to try? Just give it a try and actually you can follow this in line. Again, repeat after me. Om Maha Ignorai Namaha. इसके बाद का एक स्टेप और है, that's घनघोर इग्नोराय नमः, but I wish that आपको उसकी ज़रूरत ना पड़े. Anyways, just get back to our session. Joseph came. Over to you, Joseph.
Okay. Just to let you know, somehow my throat is kind of gone. I think I was so excited in the morning, I used all my energy. So I'll speak a little bit softer, but before we get to this session, we're going to spend Okay. So while all 5 points, there's no one more important than another. If you are a team leader, or you're the leader of your company, this is the most important one for you. Okay? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and what I want you to do again is to discuss with your group 2 examples. Everyone try to come up with at least 1 example. One where trust broke down. One where trust increased. And it's weird how humans work. Just because trust breaks down, the opposite of that, it doesn't trigger you. It's not the same thing. So for example, if trust broke down because of lying, it doesn't mean that someone tells the truth and you automatically trust them. That's not how humans work. We have different standards for negative and positive. Okay? So please look at the behaviors. What did that person do to decrease your trust or increase your trust? Please don't share names. I don't want this to be a complaint session. But it's more a way for you to look at these behaviors and ask yourself, how many of these behaviors do I do? I want this to be like looking into a mirror. Because sometimes it takes somebody else to say, hey, you know? Like, does anybody know if their own breath smells bad? You don't. Unfortunately, if you have bad breath, somebody has to tell you. And sometimes they won't tell you because they're polite, right? But your breath is very bad, maybe. So in the same way, I want you to learn from each other. I want to set the timer for 10 minutes, and please make a list. And I want you to share the list with each other. It's more important that you have this list, because next week I want you to go home or go to work and be like, wait a minute, am I showing this behavior? Increase trust, decrease trust, okay? 10 minutes, and please write it down. I'll set the timer. So if one person from the table, if you could be the representative, I'd love to hear from you. What increased trust? We can start with this table here, right here. What increased trust in the relationship? What decreased trust? What did they do to make you think that way? Go ahead.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Our team is called Just 18. Though I'm not 18, I'm just supporting the cause, okay? So we'll get started now. We deliberated, and there are a few points that came across. Why do trust get eroded? is basically when you share something confidential or personal and they don't keep it private and everybody talks about it. There's not giving due credit to others for their contributions within the team. And then we also talked about how do you correct that. There are instances where you can, reprimand in private, appreciate in public. Those are some of the things. And basically we said, like, when trust is eroded, what happens is there's a Hindi saying, even दूध का जला हुआ छाछ भी फूंक के पीता है. So these are some of the things that we talked, and I thank my team for their contributions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So one of the things that's interesting that you might want to talk about if you heard what he said, like some of it is obvious, right? Like if I share with you in private that you don't share in public, what's the difference between trust and just being a good person? Is there a difference? What's the difference? So there's actually no difference. And the reason there's no difference between a trusting person, what I mean is, if someone is trusting at home, they're also trusting at work. And you see this over and over again. Rarely, it's not impossible, but rarely do you see someone who uplifts their children, uplifts their wife, uplifts their brother, uplifts their sister, and then at work says, "You're cowards. You're nothing without me." You almost never see that. You also rarely, but this is more common, see people who are kind at work and then go home and they're harsh with their families. That's more common, but still not that common. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 2 companies, and I've always told my employees, by the way, they both went bankrupt. I'm on my 3rd one. But one time I had a team, just 4 employees, and every single one of the 4 was born in a different country. Italy, Japan, China, Korea, United States. So 5 of us, right? And I said, look, if you want to know if I'm a good leader, when they joined, I said, you just have to interview my children. You just have to ask my children. Whatever they think about me, it comes out at work all the time. So I think what this group was saying was praise in public, reprimand, or, challenge them in private. Do you do that with your children? So these things aren't so different. And I think that so many of us have made this complicated, but it's really not complicated. It's really not. Think of all the people that you respect. If you respect somebody in real life, do you think they're disrespectable at work? False. I can guarantee you every human that you respect in life is respected at work. 100%. So, I don't know where we got this game that our private life and our work life, that they're 2 different spheres. They're not. They're not. I'm going to pick on Chairman Rishi. So this guy, when he asked me to come, he said something very, very astute. He said, these issues are things that accountants never talk about, but we always think about. Very astute. He's like, we're always thinking about these human issues. We just don't talk about it because it's not about our work. And I can guarantee you that that's how he treats his children. He's a respectable man as a leader of this organization, but that's how he treats his children. By the way, I don't know this, but I would be able to bet, I'd be willing to bet a lot of my personal money that his children look up to their father. Because that kind of wisdom and astuteness doesn't come from guessing. How would he know that all of you are thinking about this? You're accountants. Do accountants care about teams? Do they? They do. But what do they talk about? Numbers. So that showed me a lot about him. In other words, I saw how he treated this group, and And I already have confidence that he's a good father, already. Do I know he's a good father? I don't. I've never met his children, I've never interviewed them. But I don't think these two things are inconsistent. And if people respect him at work, I can see people respect. Now, this is not 100%, but you see this consistency. So, anyway, it's excellent what they did. Thank you. It was excellent. Okay, we had another group. Over here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So afternoon, Kim. The things which we discussed and on the consensus on which we, let's say, decided is that transparency is one key thing for any of the team members to build the trust or to
Transparency.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what we feel is what we were thinking. One of the colleague also told that doing the correct thing when someone is not seeing as well, that is something which builds trust and goes for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's really powerful. By the way, that's amazing. Did everyone hear that? So, doing the right thing even when no one's looking. Is that important to accountants? But is that important as a husband? Is that important as a wife? Is that important as a son or daughter? Yes. 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 Right? Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Okay, let's a few more groups. This is really important. So, we have one here. Come.
So our group discussed a lot of things on how we can build trust. And the one thing that people said over here was not using someone's vulnerability against them, being extra selfless, and also showing respect to others, even in big and small times consistently. And if someone comes to you in times of need, you know that they trust you. Yeah. And going the extra mile for someone. And when people reduce trust and you don't trust someone anymore, it's more like gossip, manipulation, gaslighting, when their actions don't match their words, and no transparency.
Yeah, thank you. Very similar, right? Very similar. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, let's hear from one more. Okay.
Can I say something from this side?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. A lot of things have already been said, so I will not repeat that. And I think everyone has gone through these financial pains that people borrow money and they don't return, so that in any case is a given with every one of us. But one thing which I think on the table also we thought that procrastination, that is something which really builds mistrust, that many people have a habit of procrastination and then they don't stick to their commitments. If you stick to your commitments, that also builds a lot of trust, especially in teams when we see that people are sticking to what they're saying, and if they're finding difficulty, then they should be open about. So that's when transparency also comes in.
Yeah. So. Did everyone hear that? Commitment, right? It's very powerful. We're going to learn that there's commitment, and then the other one is what? Flexibility. If you're always flexible, you're not committed. If you're always committed, you're not flexible. So there are these two sides of the same coin, right? And you actually need both. You need both. Oh, we'll learn about that in a second. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's have one more. We had a group here. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammad Sami. So for building a relationship where trust increase, so there is a two principle, C and A. C stand for common. So for example, I'm from India, Gujarat, and if I meet a person who is also from Gujarat, so I can connect easily by language. So that will increase my trust. And A is for aspiration. So say for example, I love football, and the Messi is number one. So if I heard something from him, I trust on that words. So these two principles are there, common and aspiration. And the second thing is when trust is reduced. So when some people is lying to us and we catch them, so there is that at that time the trust will reduce. And secondly is the bad behavior. If a person has bad behavior with us, so at that time the trust will reduce. So these are the
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I get asked this question a lot. They say, look, I want to raise a trusting team. What should I do? I got asked this at least 3 times today. And I guess that asks us a lot. It's complicated, but I'm going to give you what I think is the best use of your time for trust to build a trusting team. Okay? Here it is. It's presence. Presence. I'll give you a few examples. Can you be a good, today's Father's Day? I'm a father. Congratulations to all the fathers. Can you be a good father without quantity? I want you to think about this. Can you be a good father giving your children 10 minutes of quality time, your undivided attention, 10 minutes a week? Is it possible? It's not. It's not. If you give your children 10 minutes a week, they will one day grow up to say, I don't know my father. I love my father. He's a great man, but he was not a good father. Not his fault. Doesn't matter. He's not a good father. He never abused me. He paid for everything that I ever need. You know, I almost want to cry when I say this. His fingers fell off his nails working, making $1.25 an hour in 1974 in the United States to feed me. But he was not a good father to me. You know why? Because I didn't know him. Not his fault. Okay? I loved him. I know why he did what he did. He sacrificed for me. But in my eyes, he could not. By the way, even though I say he was not a good father, I'm thankful for him. I love him. I cherish him. But he's not a good father. Because you cannot be a good father without what? Time. Presence. You cannot. You cannot. I don't know my father's dreams. I don't know the things he struggled with. He never knows my dreams because he was always working. Again, not his fault. And sometimes you're born in a bad situation, right? My father didn't have a choice. I accepted it. And when he passed away 2 months ago, I said, Dad, thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. But here's the thing is, you have a choice, don't you? You have a choice. My friends, you cannot be a good father without quantity. And many of us leaders, we try to be this leader of a team without quantity. Now, I'm not saying you got to give 10 hours a week, but some of you want to be leaders while giving 5 minutes per week to your team. 5 minutes. You cannot be a good leader without presence. Something that I experienced many years ago, I was living in South Korea, and I like motorcycles. I ride big ones, 1,000 cc's. They're as big as a car, basically. So in South Korea, just like in India, most people ride 50 cc's, 100, small, right? So technically, two-wheelers can't park in a car spot in Korea. So I lived in this apartment, and I didn't know where to park. So I'm like riding this big motorcycle, it's loud. And the security guard says to me, he's a small Korean man about this tall, he says, you know, he called me 1103 because that was my unit number. He said, Mr. 1103, if you trust me with your keys, you know, I'll make sure that it's parked during daytime. So I had no reason not to trust him, so I gave him my keys. 2 years, this man moved my bike. And when I saw him, you know what Koreans do? We bow. I rode my bike in, I bow, I get off, I park the bike, I left the keys in there, engine running, and I would wave at him, I would bow, he would bow back, I would go up to my apartment. I did this for 2 years. South Korea has 4 full seasons. I rode for 10 months out of the year. I know, I'm kind of crazy. I rode in the cold, the rain, and after 2 years, one day he came up to me and he said he wanted to talk to me. So he came to talk to me and he said, you know, I want you to know that today's my last day at work. I can't move your motorcycle anymore, so please ask someone else. And then I said, oh, like, why is today your last day? And he said, my son got a promotion at work, and I'm only 61, but he told me to retire. So, great news, right? After 2 years, I didn't even know his name. I found out his name was Mr. Kim, just like me. We had the same name. I found out that he had a son. I found out that he had a wife. 2 years, I didn't know anything about him. Okay? Now, this is the important point. I would have trusted this man with my wallet, my keys. I'm no longer married, but if I was married, I would trust him with my wife. And why would I do that? I don't know anything about him. I mean, the guy could have been a killer. Probably not, but because for 2 years, this man bowed to me and he took care of my motorcycle. Korea has 4 major holidays. I bought him a small gift every holiday. And he was so thankful. And on the last day, I tried to get him a bigger gift and he wouldn't accept it, but I kept on pushing it. So he took the gift. Here's my point. I was willing to trust a complete stranger who had presence in my life. Some of you don't even trust your own brother or sister with your wallet. Some of you wouldn't even let your brother or sister borrow money from you, would you? Because you don't trust them. And yet here I was willing to trust a stranger. And that's because he had presence. Friends, I want to tell you that if you want to build a trusting team, there's many different ways to do it. But the number one most powerful way in building a trusting team is presence. Presence. You struggle with your relationship with your wife or husband. If you look at therapy, it doesn't solve everything. You know what's one way to solve a lot of your problems? Presence. You have a bad relationship with your son, your daughter, a bad employee. You know what the best way to try to solve that problem is? Presence. Your team, do you want them to work hard because you care about them, but you don't know how to show care for them? It's not giving them a bonus. Okay, a bonus helps. But research has shown that giving your employees a bonus will not make them work harder. Bonus is one aspect of care, but it's not everything. But there's one aspect of care that's unmistakable, and that's presence. How much time do you spend with your team? If you tell me that, 90%, not 100, but 90%, I can tell if you're a good leader or not. Presence. Presence doesn't mean I'm there looking at my phone, right? Presence means I'm there and I'm paying attention to you. I'm present. Look at Ombat, State Bank of India. The man didn't say anything visiting 100 branches. He said nothing. CEO of the State Bank of India listened to a minimum wage worker's questions, problems. If you want to level up your leadership, there's many things you can do. In my opinion, presence is number one. Because anybody in my life that's shown presence to me, I trust them. I listen to them. I value their words because they value me. They value me enough to sit there next to me, not looking at their cell phone. They're listening to me. You know? You're paying attention to me because you probably paid to be here. But what if you didn't? If you were paying attention to me because you wanted to, I would feel so honored. I would feel so privileged. I would trust you because you decided to listen to me and sit in front of me and give me your time. Remember, we had already established the single most valuable commodity on earth is what? It's time. It's time. Let me ask one more time because you're accountants. Would any of you trade your life for Warren Buffett if you had to become 96? Anybody? I'll give you $100 billion if you want to be 96. Anybody? Nobody. Nobody. Next one. We're not going to have a second lunch, okay? I know some of you are like, hey, I need another lunch. No. Okay, study worthy rivals. So these next two are real short. Okay, we'll go over them quickly. A worthy rival is another player in the game worthy of comparison. Studying them reveals to us our own areas in which we can improve. So one of the things that companies get wrong is they're consistently talking about competitors. Competitors. What's a competitor? A competitor is someone that you are trying to beat. Competitor automatically means the finite game because there's winners and losers. But you know, in the infinite game, there's no competitors because nobody wins in the infinite game. So what do we have in the infinite game? We have worthy rivals. A worthy rival is someone that you learn from. They have to be two things. They have to be worthy, and they have to be a rival, meaning they have to have something that you want. Worthy rival. If I asked you, who was Apple's competitor in the 80s? Who were they? It wasn't Microsoft, it was IBM, right? And then they evolved, and IBM was, they did mainframes and stuff, but they started pivoting to something else. And so then who was their competition in the 90s? Microsoft. You remember? I'm a Mac, I'm a PC. They started going out. Who's Apple's competitor now? Sony Music, Facebook, Amazon, Google. Did you know, by the way, about 7 years ago, Apple admitted that they spent over $1 billion on an iCar. Did you know that? Elon Musk and Tim Cook had a lot of in-depth discussions, and Tim Cook kind of insulted Elon Musk, which is why they hate each other, by the way. And also their personal life, like Elon Musk is kind of right politically, and Tim Cook is gay. So, they have a lot of kind of issues between the two. But it's not just that, it's that Apple was gonna make a car. Would you buy an Apple car? You probably would if you have an Apple phone, So you can see that competition changes consistently, but so do worthy rivals. Here's the difference between the two. A competitor focuses us to take on an attitude of winning. Competition makes us want to win. Whatever company you are, let's say you work for KPMG, I say, who's your competitor? Very easy. I just did a big gig for BCG, Boston Consulting Group. Who's your competitor? Simple. McKinsey, PwC. They can just list them very easily, right? A competitor focuses our attention on what? On the outputs. It moves our attention to a win at any cost mentality, which can not only cause us to act unethically, but cause us to act only finitely. What's a worthy rival? A worthy rival inspires us to take on an attitude of improvement, focuses our attention on the process, and here's the most important part. Because we don't care about winning, a worthy rival focuses our attention on our just cause to stay in the game. To stay in the game. In the United States, in 2008, a very large electronic retailer called Circuit City went bankrupt. So there were two companies that had dominance. One was Circuit City, and just slightly above them was a company called Best Buy. Okay? Circuit City went bankrupt. So it would make it seem as if Best Buy sales would double, right? What happened? Best Buy became number one, but the whole industry went down 30%. You know why? Amazon. In other words, Americans were not buying things inside a store anymore. Whole landscape is changing. In 2008, no American, including me, would have ever dreamed that I could push a button and some order would come all the way from China, shipped to my door. Could you have imagined that? No way. You do that all the time though, don't you? Don't you order stuff and it comes from India, from China, from the United States? It comes to your door. You don't have to go to a store to buy it. So, sometimes we don't understand that if we just think about competitors, if our goal is just to win, you might be the winner of nothing. Nothing. Did you know that Netflix approached Blockbuster and asked them to buy them? And Blockbuster looked at the numbers for Netflix and said, this is very good. But their board, rejected the deal. And you know why they rejected the deal? Because Blockbuster made almost 20% of their revenue on late fees. Late fees. So if you don't know, Blockbuster is a VHS and then a DVD rental company. And it's a side note, but one time I borrowed a video from them and I forgot that I lost it in my car. And the VHS only cost $25, but I owed them $85. My father was a good he was very angry at me because he had to pay for it. And so that's how Blockbuster made their money. Well, when Netflix approached them, Netflix was no late fees. At that time, Netflix had a DVD mailing subscription. They had no streaming content. Nobody could have imagined that Netflix did that. And yet Blockbuster, all they cared about was being number one. Well, they became number one of nothing. There's one Blockbuster in the world now. One. It's in the state of Oregon in the United States. Are you winning a game in which nobody else is playing? Are you number one? I'm not talking just about companies. Are you number one of a category of which you're the only competitor? Man, that's sad. You know how I know? I told you I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I competed in South Korea about 3 years ago, and I won a gold medal. You might be impressed until I tell you how I won this gold medal. So in Jiu-Jitsu, we go by belt. I'm a black belt. We go by age. At that time, I was like 51. And then we go by weight. I'm about 95 kilos, maybe 100 after today's lunch, but I was 95 kilo. And turns out in Korea, there's nobody who's 50, a black belt, and close to my weight. So guess what happened? I got a gold medal beating nobody. So I stood on stage, held my belt, I got a gold medal, there's no silver medalist, no bronze medalist, and I took a picture by myself. Now, am I proud of this moment? I'm not. And by the way, I only share it with you to illustrate this point. It's kind of embarrassing, I tell people, I am a 2-time gold medalist in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the All Korea Open. And both times, in 2 separate categories, nobody my age, weight, and rank. So I have 2 gold medals beating nobody. Well, that's what this is like a lot of times. Who are you competing against? So one of the things we see about this idea is that the idea of a worthy rival, so for a company, it's very easy, right? Companies have worthy rivals simply because they can learn from them. Don't you think Apple learned from Amazon? How do you think iBook came about? If you look at Apple's iBook revenue model, it's exactly like Amazon's Kindle. It's exactly the same. Authors get 70%, the platform gets 30%, and you have to buy into all sales. So now it's to the point where if you're an internet author, it doesn't matter what platform you use, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Those of you who use AI, the 3 dominant ones are Anthropic, right? OpenAI, and Google. Is there a difference between the 3? There is, but only at the upper levels. At the lower levels, there's almost no difference. If you ask Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini at the free model, the answers are 90-some% exactly the same, right? So again, who are you competing against as a company? What we need are more worthy rivals. What about individuals? Do you have a worthy rival? It's very easy to figure out who your worthy rival is. If there is somebody in your life that you find annoying, she talks too much. She doesn't talk. He's too serious. He's never serious. Whoever that person is, if you find someone that you find annoying, but other people shockingly like them, do you have someone like that in your life? Is there somebody at work that you think is annoying as hell, but other people respect them? If you do, that's your worthy rival. Because psychological studies have shown that we dislike people, even if other people respect them, is because if they have something that we lack. We lack. He's not here, so I'll talk about him, is when I first listened to my boss, Simon Sinek, I found him extremely annoying. And you know why I found him annoying? Because the man was too simple. I'm a PhD, I'm a researcher. And I would listen to him and be like, what? Like any 5th grader can say this. And other people were telling me, oh yeah, did you hear about this guy, Simon Sinek? Like, just his name would come up in talks. This is like 15 years ago. And I'm like, why do people like this guy? Everything he says is so obvious. It is. Simon once told me, Joe, I've never said anything, I've never published anything that wasn't obvious. Yet, people listen to him. Why do they listen to him? Because he points out obvious things that you've forgotten that you need or think about. And so in the same way, I found him annoying. And the reason I found him annoying is the man is gifted at simplifying things. I'm an academic. I don't like simplifying things. I like to complicate things. I live in theories. You want to talk to me about politics? I could talk to you for 8 hours. You want to talk to me about why North and South Korea are not reunified? I could talk to you about that all day. Simon will talk about that for 5 minutes. He's a man of simplicity, and I lack that quality. I'm learning, but I lack that quality. So it kind of turned into envy, which made him a worthy rival for me, right? So this one, I want you to just do by yourself, okay, at your table. Think about the individuals or organizations you admire or the ones that frustrate you, right? Let's focus more on the individual part today. Why do you find them frustrating? Why? Like, think about the people in your life that you find frustrating. Why do you find that frustrating? Maybe they have something that you lack, all right? So let's take a quick, we're just gonna do 6 minutes, okay? Take a quick 6 minutes with your group and just don't list their names, but share with your group, why is this person annoying? You might even say, because she talks too much. Maybe you need to talk more, you know? Or maybe you think, you know, I can't stand her. She never says anything. Well, maybe you talk too much, you know? So let's focus on the individuals that frustrate us and what we can learn from them. 6 minutes. If you need to go to the bathroom, please go now. Come right back. 6 minutes, and then we'll hear from the groups, okay? All right, let's get to our group. 6 minutes. I know that was quick, but I would love to hear from, if you're willing to share, maybe this is too personal, but if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear from maybe your group or who are some of your worthy rivals and why? Why are they your worthy rivals? Okay. Anyone wanna share? We have some volunteers that are ready to give you the mic. Okay, we have someone over here. Go ahead. Okay, then next. Let them go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I consider worthy rivals as people who, every person, my mantra is that every person who comes in your life comes with a purpose. And from some people you learn what you want to inculcate in yourself, and from some people you learn what not to do in life. So that's what I believe in. But every person has a purpose in life that will come in your life, so to teach you.
I see.
So learn whatever best you can, what to do and what not to do.
So here's what's interesting. Did everyone hear her? That's a really important point. We rarely pick up the advice of someone of what not to do. It's much more powerful when we see somebody, I want to be like that, and then we're attracted to that. You know, it's like, otherwise we call this a law of attraction, right? But if I meet someone and says, I don't want to be like him, I'll forget very easily. And then I grow up sometimes to be like that. It's weird, right? And this is why movements like the law of attraction, are you familiar with the law of attraction? Why the law of attraction is so powerful. It's because even if you don't believe in it, the idea is that positivity draws me there. If it's negative, I actually forget it. I don't avoid it, I forget it. And this is why positive mentors are so important. It's so important. I bet you that the people in your life that were positive to you that you'll never forget, because this is what we're drawn to. And that's why when it comes to worthy rivals, one of the reasons I believe Simon, I never asked him this, but one of the reasons that this was so important for him is this idea that if I have a worthy rival and I could learn from someone positively, I'm just drawn to them. I'm very drawn to them. Whereas the negative people, I kind of forget about them. It's not so important in my life. So, thank you. Okay, next, go ahead.
Our group 27 number, concluded few of the things which we felt that which are frustrating within an organizations. Few examples are there are too many priorities, top-down priorities, where the executioners are a bit lost and they cannot execute it efficiently. Another thing is there are shortcuts which people use, which are not long-lasting in a firm or an organization. So shortcuts are generally a bit frustrating for the executioners, or even not good for the organization as well. And a few people who make smaller things as a big issues. So rather than finding a solutions to a problem, they try to make the problems rather bigger.
Yeah.
And
You're talking about trust now? You're not talking about worthy rivals, right?
I'm talking about the things which are a bit frustrating within an
I see.
organization. So those are few things. And also, few people who are at the powerful positions, they, rather than taking the decisions at the right time, just delay the things and don't really push them hard. So that is a bit frustrating.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Notice how I was confused as to whether he was talking about the trusting team issue or the worthy rival. What's the difference? The difference is that in a trusting team, when I see these qualities, it pulls me away. The worthy rival, I said it to that group, the worthy rival is someone that you find annoying, but other people respect them. That's the key. Okay, let me say this again. A worthy rival is, if I find her, what's wrong with her? She seems to me like she's a liar. She's always talking. She overpromises, underdelivers, and other people correct me and say, no, you're wrong. She's very respectable. She just loves to tell stories. She loves people. If I think of her negatively and other people think of her positively, that's a worthy rival. Does that make sense? And the reason that's a worthy rival is because if I'm not seeing this quality but other people are, maybe I'm blind to it. And I'm blind to it because I don't have that quality. You know, humans are funny. We get jealous over the stupidest things, don't you think? You know, we get jealous over really insignificant, stupid things. I'll tell you, like, living in America, growing up in America, the first 43 years of my life, I never thought the size of my face. Like, I don't know, I never thought about it. Like, okay, this is what I look like. I'm not saying I'm good looking or unattractive, I just never thought about it. But I went to South Korea at the age of 43, and then people started giving each other compliments by saying, you know, he's really good looking, his face is so small. What? Like that's something I had never heard about before. So in Korea, this is different from having a big head. They distinguish, right? Big head is like, your head is the size of a coconut, you know, but a small face is your cheekbones are narrow. And Koreans find that attractive. So if you ever see South Korean women, they take pictures like this because they want to de-emphasize the size of their... So it's a category that I didn't know existed. What do you mean? I had no idea, you know? And then as soon as someone pointed it out to me, I was like, oh crap, you know, I have a big face. And this is something that I lived perfectly fine for the first 43 years of my life, and now I became aware. And what happened? Now the whole world is full of big face, small face, small face, big face, small face, small face. My two sons. So my younger son has a small head, small face. My older son has a big head, same hat size as me, but his face is very small. But I never thought about this before. In other words, that category now becomes real. It's a real category, whereas before it wasn't. Worthy rivals look like that. Sometimes you're just not aware that you have this deficiency. You're unaware. And all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, she's annoying. But other people look up to her. Now you know it's real. It's real. It's like a comp, right? It's like doing a salary comp or some kind of a living standard comp. Is now you have something to compare to. So worthy rivals becomes powerful because now I have someone I could compare myself to. It's not the be-all, end-all, but no man is an island, right? No woman is an island. And without this point of comparison, you would never know what you're good at. If I were to ask you, what are your 10 most positive qualities and the 10 things you needed to work on the most? And then I were to ask your wife or husband, do you think those qualities would line up? How many do you think would line up? 9 out of 10? 5 out of 10? So it just goes to show you that we humans are kind of delusional in this sense. So this is the power of worthy rivals. Right? All right, let's go to the next one because I think the next one is nice. Okay, this one's short, but it's powerful. Existential flexibility is to develop the capacity to initiate an extreme disruption to a business model or strategic course, even personally, in order to more effectively advance your just cause. Sometimes people can't do this. Have you ever heard of the company Kodak? The Kodak was founded by a man named George Eastman. Kodak is a made-up word. And George Eastman was born in the late 1800s. And the reason he was a scientist, he developed film, is because back then there was no such thing as film. Without film, you could only take pictures in a big studio. But because of film, you could take pictures outside of the studio. And so he became, at that time, I think he became the third richest man in America because that's how powerful Kodak was. If you're like me and you're anywhere near my age, do you remember when you took pictures and you had to develop it and you didn't know what the film looked like? If you're nodding, you're old, by the way. And sometimes you'd be like, oh crap, it's a good picture, but like somebody's thumb was in the way. Or you don't even remember someone going, my kids don't do that. They take 1,000 pictures and they just keep the best one, right? Because they're in a digital age. Well, guess who invented digital photography? Kodak. 1975, one of their engineers invented it. And guess what they did when they invented digital photography? They basically, instead of developing it, decided that we don't want to cannibalize our film business. So they licensed it. Who did they license it to? Panasonic, Hitachi, Fujitsu, the Japanese digital companies. In America, the patents last how long, do you know? 25 years. So from 1975, 85, 95, 2000. Right at 2000, their patent ended. Guess what happened in 2000? The digital camera revolution. This is before the iPhone, by the way, way before. Do you remember having a 1 megapixel camera and you paid like $800 for it? Well, that's what happened. And what happened to Kodak in 2012? Bankrupt. So this is what happens when you can't flex. Now, this is a very important question for you. A clear just cause is necessary if you want to flex existentially. You can't flex by yourself. You need a team. And finally, an existential flex requires forward focus. In the infinite game, we must flex. We must flex. What does that mean for you, okay? This is an important discussion I want you to have. Do you think your jobs are safe? For now. You think your jobs are safe? Imagine that, let's play this game now. Imagine that AI has now made all accounting and financial work obsolete. You think there's going to come a future? Probably, right? Probably. Whole industries have collapsed so fast. Do you remember when we went from maps to printouts? Do you remember in between mobile phones, we had this GPS device era? Do you remember that? The two big companies were TomTom and Magellan. So there are these little devices that you put on your car and they tell you where to go. What happened to those devices? Gone. What about TiVo? Live, you could stop, you could record digital picture, you could record stuff on your TV, you could fast forward it. What happened to TiVo? Gone. because now all TV broadcasts are digital, so you could stop and play anytime. Gone. You think your job is safe? Let's play a game. Imagine that your job is now obsolete. Imagine a new AI comes tomorrow. Every single accounting job in the world is gone. A scary thought, isn't it? You know? Imagine that AI can do your job now. By the way, have you ever seen that recent LinkedIn? There is a man who posted something, and he woke up in the morning, and his LinkedIn had 23,000 comments. He never had more than 100 comments on any of his posts. So he was shocked, and guess what happened it was? It was 2 AI bots answering each other. It was 20,000, you should look it up. It's like 20,000 comments embedded. And people were just like looking at this and laughing. Well, we're laughing now. Do you think we're gonna laugh in 5 years? In 10 years? You know? Right now, we can tell the difference between AI, well, sometimes, right? We can tell the difference. But imagine your job is gone. Imagine your company is gone. Okay? What would you do as an organization? What would your organization do? And also, I'm more interested in individually. What would you do if you couldn't be an accountant anymore? Okay? Just want you to think about this for a second. If you couldn't do what you're doing now, your skills, what else could you do? In the infinite game, we have to learn how to pivot, always, always, all right? So I'm gonna give you another 6 minutes, very quickly discuss with your group, and if you have any questions, raise your hand, and I'll come to your table, all right? I'm gonna set the timer, 6 minutes. What would you do if your job is gone? I mean, accounting is gone, not your specific job. The field of accounting is gone. What would you do? Okay, groups with questions, raise your hand and I'll go to your table. Okay, so the idea, this gentleman here gave me some food for thought. He said, well, why is this so hard? I can just move to a farm. I can just homeschool my kids. And you know what I said to him? I said, so does your wife agree to all this? And he said, no, probably not. So the idea is that when we pivot, right, nobody here pivots in a vacuum, right? You have families. Like, if I were to ask you, how many of you, just, you don't have to raise your hand, but how many of you could quit your job right now and live the life that you want for the rest of your life based on investments and savings? Okay, let's be friends with these people who raise their hands here, you know? Okay? This is, you know, one reason I love people like this is they're working not for money. They have enough, right? Well, maybe they don't have enough, but they're not working for. Most of us are not in this situation, right? If AI were to take over accounting, you know, pardon my French as we say, but you would be fucked. You would really have a hard time, wouldn't you? If there's no more accounting, if accounting were to drop tomorrow, like some of the young people are like, oh my gosh, why did I become certified? I spent the last 4 years of my life. Why would I do that? The point of this is that you have other skills. It could, yeah, you have skills. See, I like his attitude already. He's like, okay, let it rain. So what? Let it rain. That means that he has some confidence in some other skills. If you want to play the infinite game, at some point your job may be taken away from you. Just a show of hands, how many of you have ever declared full legal bankruptcy? Raise your hand. You lost all your assets. You see my hand? I lost all my assets at one point. I literally had negative assets to my name. And one good thing about being bankrupt, one good thing is, if you overcame bankruptcy once, you feel you can overcome it again, right? If you've never been bankrupt, it's very scary actually. You know, I owed several $100,000 at that time as a professor. My salary was well under 100,000 USD, and there was no way I could make it up. My house was gone, everything was gone. And I owed creditors, and somehow I came back. So I'm less fearful of it, but for most of us, that's very scary, isn't it? Losing your house, losing, like you have to pull your kids out of school. You tell your wife, sorry, you gotta take the bus, we gotta sell our car. I mean, this kind of thinking is not easy. So the idea of X-Flex is that if your job were gone, is there something else that you could do? Okay, let's hear from at least a few of the groups. We're almost done, but let's hear from some of you of the groups. Okay, we have a volunteer there. What would you do? No more accounting, what would you do?
We would advise with a human touch. See, AI, accounting, finance work is gone. Deep down, you will not listen to robots, right? Deep down, you require a human touch. You need to understand your feelings, your emotions, what your family values are, what your future aspirations are. So this is where, I mean, the training which we are accountants we have got, so we have a knack of that, how to understand our clients, understand the business fraternity.
I see.
The second thought which emerged in our group that we'll become AI salesmen.
You become salesmen?
Yeah, we'll become AI salesmen. If AI is getting better of us, we'll getting better ahead of them.
Yeah. Very nice. Hey, we had another.
And the third one is that starting an adventure company, trekking, river rafting, mountaineering.
Good, Mike.
So this would like give a complete satisfaction to the people the customers who would come for a break, to get a recharge.
I mean, do you think that most CFAs could become starting an adventure company? By the way, it doesn't look like it from what I see in this audience, you know.
Our group can become.
Oh, your group, okay. Very good. Let's go on.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So our group naturally pivoted towards me opening a food stall, her opening a healthy drink. She would be doing the yoga. She'll be event managing everything about us. And if there's some legal issues, we have May here. So it naturally came like, okay, if we don't do this, we are good at something on a personal level, and that's what we will be doing. So yeah, we are a group here.
Very good. Let's give a round of applause. Okay, let's hear from another group, okay? Over there.
Thank you for the opportunity. We had a different radical view to the whole situation. We firmly and positively believe that AI is a hype, and sooner or later, NASDAQ 100 is going to crash. NVIDIA will shut down the shop. Tesla will stop manufacturing self-driven cars. The drivers will be back on the road, and definitely we all will live a happy life, continuing accounting and grinding all our lives.
I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible, right? It's very possible. You know, if you study the history of businesses, we've seen that technology has a way to bankrupt an entire industry. If you grew up in the United States, even if you didn't, in the US we had something called the Yellow Pages. It was a company name. And the Yellow Pages was a thick book that had a listing of every house in your district, and you could choose to have your name listed, your phone number listed or unlisted, and businesses would advertise there. The Yellow Pages was a top NYS, the New York Stock Exchange, top 200 company. Okay? They had no competitors. It was good. And literally, when the internet came about in the mid-90s, when AOL came about, and they had that first AOL search bar, within 13 months, the company, their business went upside down, instantly. Instantly. I actually know Mark Andreessen. You know who Mark Andreessen is? You might know him as a VC founder of Andreessen Horowitz. But actually, before that, he wrote the code to invent the first web browser. It's because of him that you have a web browser. But he used a computer at my undergraduate school, the University of Illinois. He used a computer. We were classmates. And he used a computer from the University of Illinois So Illinois said, you used our computer, that code is ours. He called it Mosaic. So he quit, and then he started a company called Netscape. Do you remember Netscape? Netscape was the #1 rising company in the world in the early 90s. Why are they bankrupt? Because Microsoft decided to include Internet Explorer as part of their OS. So instead of you downloading Netscape, Explorer was already free and installed. So that became the default browser. Instantly, your business can change. Now, I'm not saying accounting is going to go away. Maybe not. Maybe AI is all hype. Okay? Maybe. I don't know. But my point is, can you flex? The more important question is, can you flex? If you want to stay in the infinite game and you want to keep on playing and you want to leave behind something for your children and your children's children, you want to leave behind something in this world, you have to learn how to pivot. You don't think your company can fire you? So for my book, I recently interviewed, I won't tell you his name, but he's the CEO of a company, one of the founders of a company that fired 30% of their workforce. And he said revenue went up by almost 50%. So the next year, it's a tech company, they're going to fire another 20 to 30%. He already told their workers. Can you imagine the morale at this company? Who are they going to keep? Who are they going to keep? Because they've already been shown that when they fire their workforce, they're a tech company, they're limiting the number of coders they have, right? The more they limit the engineers, they found out that they're more profitable because the people are using AI to grow. It's a scary world out there. It's a scary world out there. Sometimes I wonder, am I going to be out of a job? Is there going to be a robot Joseph Kim with a smaller face, better voice, better looking, never gets tired, who can speak? Maybe there'll be a Simon Sinek robot, and nobody wants Joseph Kim, they want Simon Sinek, the robot, So we live in this kind of world, and if you cannot pivot, if you cannot think of your skills as portable to another industry, then, maybe if you're old, you're old like me, over 50, it's probably not gonna happen. But if you're young, if you're in your 20s, I don't know if anyone here is in their 20s, 30s, don't you think? Ask some of these veterans here how much accountancy has changed in the last 20 years. Change is coming. Are you prepared to flex? Are you prepared to flex? Lastly, okay, this is really important. We won't take a break because we're almost done. Demonstrate the courage to lead. I think maybe this is the most important personally out of every single one. So there's many different kinds of courage, but one of the courages is to exhibit a willingness to take risks for the good of an unknown future. Now, I know it's kind of ironic that I'm standing in front of a bunch of accountants telling them to take risks. As you know, accountants don't take risks. My favorite accounting professor, he told me this. He says, I don't know if this kind of person gets into accounting or if accounting makes them this way. Chicken or the egg. And I won't tell you his name because I want to protect his identity. He's like, but we accountants are the most narrow-minded people that I've ever met. His words, not mine. And I said, why is that the case? I mean, accountants are smart, it's a noble work. And he's like, if you keep doing this work, you're just praised for sticking to the rules. Being good at it means you follow the rules. But here's the thing, all of you who are leaders know in life that we often succeed in life when we break rules. But we can't break every rule, right? But we have to know which rules to break at which time in our life. And as someone who's spent their whole life in accounting, perhaps you haven't taken this kind of risk. Well, I want to tell you that risk sounds negative. Risky behavior sounds negative, right? We use that in our common vernacular, negative. But in reality, risk is not negative. Risk is neutral. Why is it neutral? Because risk has a downside. But what else does risk have? An upside. It has a downside and an upside. The idea of demonstrating the courage to take risks is, are you willing to take this risk, calculated risk, knowing that the upside is greater than the downside? The upside is greater than the downside. So imagine, okay, I love this chart. By the way, if you get a chance, take a picture of this chart. I love this chart so much. It's very simple, but it kind of tells us. So look at the first part. Let's say you have to confront your boss, okay? The objective reality is you might get fired. I'm gonna get fired from my job. If you challenge your boss, you might get fired, okay? But what's our narrative? Our narrative is the downside. What's the downside of getting fired? My career is over. My wife will divorce me. My kids will hate me. They can't go to private school anymore. I have to take the bus. I have to live on a farm like my friend here, you know? That's our narrative. But what's the upside? The unseen possibility or the upside. I could inspire my colleagues, I could inspire my company, and most importantly, I could inspire myself. Now here's what I want to tell you, my friends, and I'm very passionate about this because I wish this for you, is that you cannot inspire yourself unless you take a risk. Let me say this again. You will never inspire yourself unless you take a positive risk. And some of you in this room, you have talent, you have ability, you have everything that you need, but you have never, ever inspired yourself. You've never looked back on your life and said, wow, I did that. I did that. That only comes from taking a risk. I hope that you can learn to inspire yourself. Don't be stupid. Like, don't put all your money on Microsoft. Like, don't do that. But understand that you can't inspire yourself unless you take a positive risk. You cannot. And what do we need to take risk? We need courage. We need to know, yes, maybe I'll fail. Maybe I'll lose some money. Don't lose all your money, but maybe I'll lose some money. But I want to inspire myself. I want to inspire my family. I want to inspire those people around me by making this courageous move. Here is what companies and individuals should strive for. If you look at what it means to take a risk, the responsibility of an organization, this mimics the responsibility of an individual. Number one, advance a purpose. Your life without a purpose, you are just a corporate ninja. If you have a purpose, your work becomes more than just where you make money. It's a place where your values get spread out, where things like impact, inspiration, leadership, camaraderie, team building, trust, all of these qualities go up because that's your purpose. Companies can do this, but so can individuals. What about protecting people? Do you know that if you are a leader, your first job is to protect your team? To create a safe environment so that they feel protected. Nobody can be well in their life without protection. If you're a parent, what's the number one duty you have to your child? Protection. Your child cannot do well in life, they cannot be educated, they cannot have children, they cannot do anything unless the early stages of life, they're protected. Abuse, danger from each other, dangerous chemicals, sticking themselves in the eye with a pencil. All these things, they need to be protected. Well, we humans are the same way. Protection. Are you protecting your team? And lastly, resources as fuel. Look, we've already said this, but I want to make more money. I do. But I don't want to make more money if my life is just going to be worthless and not making an impact. And I think every person here will agree with me on this. You want to double your salary, but just sit in a room all day? Nobody here wants that. Nobody. You want to make money. It's important, but it's not number one. It's not number one. Because if it was number one, you'd probably find another job. It's not number one. And so this is the responsibility of an organization. But this should also be the responsibility of an individual. advance a purpose. What's your purpose? What's your just cause? What exactly are you working for? Number 2, protect people. Are you protecting the people around you if you're a team leader? If you're not, do you feel protected? And lastly, resource is fuel. Do you see the profits that you make in your life, not just to gain, but to use for something beyond you? And it's why we invest so much in our children, because we understand, right? It's not just that we want them to do well and become successful. It's because we want them to use these resources to grow and to make something of it and to impact the world around us. This is very personal, so I'm going to give you just 6 minutes, but very personal. You don't have to write this down. With your group, I want you to share with them what is the most courageous / riskiest thing you've done the last 5 years. Why did you do it? And I'm mostly interested in you talking about the upside. I don't care if it failed. Maybe you started a business. Maybe you got married for the second time. Maybe you moved countries. Maybe you broke up with a partner, a business partner. Maybe you had to shift your focus. Maybe you had to partner with someone that you didn't want to partner with. Whatever that is, it took courage. Okay, we're almost at the end here, almost at the end. I know it's a long day. Because this last section is really personal, I do want to ask you one thing. Rather than sharing in a big group, I want to encourage you, everyone look at the list, and if you could write this down, find somebody in your life that's important to you. Could be your son, your daughter, your spouse, could be a team member, and share this with someone else. Just say, I went to a seminar recently and the speaker asked me what was the most positive, risky, courageous thing that I did, and this is what I shared. And then, after you share with them, I want you to ask them this question. What is the riskiest thing that you've done in the last 5 years? Your spouse, your children, and especially those on your team. This is, in my opinion, a great question to ask people on your team if you go out with them for lunch or coffee. Force this out of them, but here's the thing is that people are shy, so you have to start. So now you have the answer. You tell them, this is what I did, or what about you? And I find this is a great way for a team leader to build that vulnerability. I'm going to take Q&A in a second, but before I do that, let me wrap up by talking about the infinite game. By the way, there's no end to the infinite game. I just put this up there to test you. The infinite game doesn't end. How many of you, just think, know the names of all 4 of your grandparents? Okay, all right, put your hands down. How many know the names of at least 2 of your great-grandparents? It's amazing. Okay. How many of you know the name of at least 1 person of your great-grandparents? That is your grandfather's grandfather. Okay? This is amazing. This is the largest number of hands I've ever seen. I don't know if it's just Indians or accountants. In Western countries, most people don't know the names of their grandparents. You know why? Because their name is Grandma. I don't know her name. It's Grandma. That's her name. Great-grandparents. This is the parents of your grandparents. Most people don't know. Your children's children's children won't know your name. They won't know your name. But it doesn't mean that they don't have your values. In 1945, the United States dropped the only atomic bomb, nuclear weapon, on another country, twice. And it was the nation of Japan. And they strategically targeted Nagasaki and Hiroshima because these were highly populated cities without a military presence that were poor, so they were not important to the trade of Japan. They wanted to decimate 2 cities that would not hinder the country's growth. So over 150,000 people died. Over 1 million had complications. If you ever visit the museum in Hiroshima, I did. I mean, it's really scary. You see watches stop at the exact moment. I mean, it's nuts. There's like 4 watches there, and they have the exact same time it stopped. You saw that too, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Well, did you know that Japan, for 40 years, until China recently surpassed them, was the second largest economy in the world? When do you think that started? Anyone know? 1960s, late 1960s. What did they do from 1945 to 1960s? How did they go from having 2 atomic bombs dropped on them? You know, Japan's a large country, not as large as India, but still a very large country, over 100 million people. So here's what they did. The emperor's advisors got together. Most people don't know the history behind this. You could look it up, it's fascinating. They got together all the leaders of the biggest companies of Japan. Toyota, they were called Toyoda then, not Toyota. That's the name of the company. Panasonic, Hitachi, they weren't electronics makers then. They made other things. And they said, we are going to turn this industry. So the government mandated that all these big Japanese companies were going to focus their energy on electronics. In particular, they wanted the TV market. Who ruled the TV market in the 1950s? Where was the television invented? The United States. And they had a Zenith. Zenith was one of the big companies. And the other competing company was RCA. My family, in the 1980s, I was the only one in the entire block they owned a Zenith television. The reason is because my dad's Korean and he didn't buy Japanese products. That's a separate issue. Anyway, so Zenith and RCA were dominant. How did Panasonic, Sony, Hitachi, Fujitsu, how did they become dominant? Because the government said, here's our strategic plan. For the next 25 years, which is one generation, we are going to undercut our competition. We are going to sell our televisions at cost for very little profit. What that means is that you will be underpaid. And so they told the CEOs of all these companies, your employees will be underpaid. You will be underpaid. And you're going to make no money. Your children will prosper because we're going to undercut the Americans. That was their strategy. Crazy, right? You know what's crazier? Is that every one of these CEOs agreed. Every one of them. And then they went back to their employees, and guess what? The employees said, we agree. Do you know that Toyota, they're in their 14th generation CEO? 1-4. That's my father's father, 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 father. And they agreed to do this. And why did they agree to do this? Because they wanted their children not to have the impact. So the children of those people in their 40s are now in their 70s now, the children. And if you're in your 70s in Japan, you spent most of your life with Japan being the second richest country in the world, right? They're struggling now for other reasons, but they're still number 3. Japan's still the 3rd largest economy in the world. Crazy, right? They're still number 3. For those of us who are older, we've always thought of Japan as number 2, right? America had the largest economy, and it was always Japan. But what we don't know is for them to get there, the entire country had to sacrifice. That's the infinite game. It's not just short-term, long-term. It's not just short-term, long-term. And if you study the Japanese electronics market, they played every single one of these characteristics. Let me review again. Just cause, building trusting teams, studying worthy rivals, preparing for existential flexibility. They went from electronics to what? Cars. They went from cars, now what do? Movies and other things. And lastly is having the courage, demonstrating the courage to lead. It didn't quite work out for them, but overall it worked out very well. They went from being the most decimated country in the world to having lost the most inhabitants in the shortest period of time to becoming the 2nd largest economy, now the 3rd largest economy in the world for 70-some years. But they couldn't have done it without people who understood what it takes to sacrifice. So, what I hope you get from today's session, what I hope you get, if you forget everything that I've taught you, what I hope you get from today's session is this, is that you spend most of your life playing the finite game. But what's important to you is the infinite game. And if you forget this, at the end of your life, you're going to look back at your life, and like Larry Miller, the man worth $4 billion, you're going to wonder, did I do it all correctly? And how sad is that? How sad is that if at the end of your life you wondered, should I have lived my life differently? That's a very sad life. So I hope you don't live that kind of life. I hope you take example from all the things that we taught. And you've been great. Thank you for making my birthday a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Let me just, if you could have a seat, I'll just take like one or two questions because we do have some time. Any questions on anything that I've talked about? Yes?
With an anecdote, war with North Vietnam and the South Vietnamese, wherein you mentioned 3 million were lost in the North Vietnamese side and there were 50,000 casualties in the South Vietnamese side. So how do you link this with the infinite game?
Say that again?
I'm asking, with this story you started with, how do you link this with the infinite game? Because from your story, it's appearing that North Vietnamese were playing the infinite game. Is it so?
Yes.
And how is it that?
They played the infinite game, I think at great cost. But for them it was, we don't want to be puppets of the United States. By the way, Vietnam's still a communist country because the North Vietnamese, the communists, won.
Okay.
They're still communists, right? So they wanted to keep that. They played the game. Rightly or wrongly, that's what they did.
Perfect.
Yeah, they didn't want to be led by the United States. The Southern Vietnamese wanted to open up capitalism. They wanted to bring the United States. They wanted to bring free trade. They lost. Ironically, Vietnam now is like China, right? They're one-party communistic government. But if you go to any shopping mall in Vietnam, it looks just like any shopping mall here. They're capitalists. So did they win? I don't know. But in that case, yeah, they played the infinite game. Yeah.
Thank you.
Questions? Because I do want to take a picture before we go. Okay, I'll start going pictures. Here's what I'm going to have you do. About half the people left, that's okay. I want you to stand up, gather in the middle, and I want you to flash, this is what the Koreans call a heart, okay? But you got to stand up. Everyone stand up, come to the middle, and then we'll have one on stage. And then I'm going to take a selfie with you, okay? So I need everybody to gather in the middle. Everyone come forward. I'll send this to Chairman Rishi and everyone else, and you're going to value this time, okay? Get as close together as possible. Okay, so here are your options. Here are your options, okay? Single heart, double heart, two heart. If you like the person next to you, you can do a heart this way, okay? If you feel like you have a big face, women only, men don't do this, okay? You can grab your cheek and turn this way. And if you don't like pictures, then just turn around and go like this, okay? All right, ready? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Another side. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Please, can you all be with us for some time? We just need to cut the cake for Mr. Joseph. So please be there with us. I request the entire committee to come up. Kaji, can we have the cake, please?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Ji, can we have the memento, please?
Very nice. Okay. And who practice at least once or twice in a week? Brilliant. Very good. Okay. Or not just yoga, or any form of exercise. Wonderful. I'm so glad that, to see my fellow members who are, they're taking care of their health as well. Okay. First, just come in front of a chair. We'll do something standing so that, we have been sitting for a while. So lift your heels up and then lift your toes up and down. And if you're comfortable, lift your arms up and down. Up and down. Open your chest. Energized. 2, 3, more up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Amazing. Okay. Now, just with the arms, again the same thing. Open chest and go back. Open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good. Come back. Now relax your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back. Lift your arms. Inhale, back. Exhale, front. Open your chest. 5, 4. Keep your fingers open. 3, 2, 1. Back to front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. 2 things we keep constant throughout the session. We focus on the breathing and we keep smiling. Okay? Okay. Stand in the center. Now we'll do some neck movement. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Center, left. Trunk remains in the center. Other side. Inhale, look up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Amazing. Now, lift your arms up, interlock, or hold the first 2 fingers. Inhale here, exhale, go on the right. Good. Center, chest out. Exhale, down. So keep your chest out like this. When you go down, don't collapse. It makes a lot of difference. Amazing. 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. Release. Sit down on the chair. Sit on the edge of the chair, like this. Now, lift your right leg up. Inhale, front. Exhale, back. Movement from your knee only. If you'll be more comfortable if you remove your shoes, okay? So that you feel lighter as well. Let's begin. 1, 2, don't throw your leg, gently. 4, and 5. Now we are going to rotate it clockwise, only from the knee. 1, 2, only the knee. 3, 4, 5. Amazing. Other side. Lift, front and back. 1, 2, breathe. 3, 4, 5. Rotate. 1, 2, 3 from your knee. 4 and 5. Amazing. Come to standing. Keep the chair by your side. Inhale, lift your arms up, go down and hold it here. Chest open. Look up. 1, 2, 3. Good. Don't collapse again. 4. Very good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Amazing. Come up. Other side. Lift both your arms up. Exhale, go down. Open chest. 1, 2. Don't go this, go this. 4. Good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Amazing. Come back. Now, lift your arms again. Palms facing outside. Open and close your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As if you're trying to grab something. Open your fingers, sir. Yes. 9, 10. Facing inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now keep your arms out straight. Palms facing outside. Rotation from your shoulders. Small circles. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you will feel that much light that you can fly also. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Stay with me. 12, 13, 14, 15. Anti-clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Stay with me. 13, 14, 15. Now make a fist. Up and down. Keep your arms. Stay there. 1, 2. We don't have to go to gym to make our arms stronger. 5, 6, 7, 8. We can do it in our office as well. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Keep your arms move back, Chirag bhai. Arms move back. Yes. Up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amazing. Straight arms. Straight arms. Yes. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Release. Hug yourself. Inhale up. Push it back. Exhale, chest level. Inhale up. Exhale down. Amazing. 3, 2, and 1. Great. Now lift your right arm up. Fold it. Keep pushing this elbow back. Like this. 1, 2. Keep pushing back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shoulder blades coming together. 8, 9. Opening chest helps in releasing our emotions. 11, 12. Lift up and release. Inhale, other side. Lift. Exhale, fold. Push it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep pushing back. Look front. 7, chin lifted. 8, 9, 10. And release. Good. Open your legs. Take both your arms back. Interlock your fingers. Behind. Open chest. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fall forward. Try to keep your legs straight. Look in front. Yeah. 1. More down. 2, 3. Chair variation. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come up. Good. Now we'll use the chair. Come behind your chair. Take your arms up. Interlock your fingers behind your neck. Now elbows on the chair. Head behind. Now keep pushing your head down. Chest down. Look down. Open chest. 1, 2. Push your chest down. 3, 4. Good. 5. Keep pushing it down. It helps in your posture correction. 7, 8, 9, 10. And come up. Amazing. Now, many of us, we have tried tree pose in the morning. Today, now we will try with the support. Hold by the side. Feet together. Inhale. Lift other leg up. either on your thighs or on your calf muscles. Don't place it on your knees. Our knees are not meant to take our body weight. Push your knee outside. Stay here, it's completely fine. And if you want to try, only then you can lift, otherwise stay. 1, 2, breathe. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. Amazing. We'll try other side. Let's try. One side may be stronger than the other side. Do practice this with your kids, okay? It's very good for balance, focus, attention span. Push your knee outside. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. It's so much fun practicing together, right? Come sit on your chair. Straighten your one leg, whichever side you're comfortable with. First, other leg bent. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fall forward. Hold wherever you can. Look in front, don't look down. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. 4, 5. Don't stop breathing. 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, come up. Release. Other side. Inhale, lift arms. Exhale, fall from your abdomen. Squeeze abdomen, fall forward. Breathe. Keep this leg straight. 1, 2. Keep breathing. 3, 4. You can hold your calf muscles also. 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Come up. Good. Now, we'll try the warrior pose with the chair. Keep the chair in the center. Again, sit on the chair. Right leg on the right side. Toes outside. Back leg straight. Turn to the right side. Inhale, lift arms, open chest, look front. Very good. 1, 2, 3. ये यहाँ से लिया गया है. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come back. We'll do the other side as well. Back leg straight. Come on your toes. Inhale, lift arms, open chest, back. 1. Amit, this leg back. 6. Yes. 7, 8, 9. Arms move back, Rishi. Move back. 8, 9, 10. And come back. Good. Open your legs on the chair. Now take your left arm to the other side, right knee, lift and look up. Open chest, opposite side. Look at your thumb. Your thumb, huh? 1, 2, 3. Open chest, twist. 4, 5, 6. Breathe. 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good, sir. Very good. Kim, sir, you're doing fine. Very good. Thank you so much for participating. Other side. Take your arm to the opposite side. Lift your arm up. Open chest. Look at your thumb. And breathe. 1, 2. It helps in digestion, metabolism, losing weight. 9, 10. And come back. Good. हाँ, वो मैंने इसलिए बोला क्योंकि नेक्स्ट वाला और लूज वेट कराएगा इसके लिए. Come on, edge of the chair. Chest out. Lift your legs up. Either cycling or keep it straight. Look at your toes. Don't take the back support. 1, 2. Don't damage the property. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5 more, 10, 11, no back support, 12, 13, 14, 15, and release. Good. 20? Huh. Now lift and crunch. Straight and crunch. Straight and crunch. 2, 3, squeeze. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, जो ऑफिस में भी कर सकते हैं. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, go. 14, 15, 16, Rishabhai said 20, 17, 18, 19, 20. I can't say no to Rishabhai, you know. I can't say no to chairman. Now, twist to the side. Take your right arm back. Look back, left arm back. Knees in the center, don't take your knees back. 1, 2, twist from your waist, look back. Yes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, breathe. 10, come back. If you twist without breathing, then you may get some pain around your waist. Yeah, we'll take the request at the end. Other side, request at the end. 1, twist back. 2, left arm back, yeah, look back. 3, 4, chest out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and come back. Amazing, huh? Keep your legs straight. Inhale, lift arms. Now, take your right leg to the left side. Both your legs on one side, arms on the other side. Crunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Good. Excellent. Now we'll do some exercises for our eyes because we use a lot of screen. So we'll do some eye exercises which will help us in our, improving our eye health. And if you your kids have glasses or even you have glasses, it will help in reducing the numbers as well. Say chest out, sit straight, no back support. We keep the awareness. Now go right to left. Move your eyeball, right and left. Right and left. 1, 2, extreme right, extreme left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Come back. Now rotation clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anti-clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Keep both your thumb in the center. Now, whichever thumb you take towards your eye, look at that thumb. Only both your eyes on that thumb. One at a time. Move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Come back. Amazing. Good. Rub your palms against each other. Place your palms on your eyes. Relax your eyes and release. Now we'll do cat-cow. Keep your feet in front. Inhale, open chest, drop your head. Exhale, squeeze, head down. Open chest, back. Good. Good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, breathe, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. Come back. So this is again very good for your back to ease the pain. Now sit with both your feet in the front. Take your right leg up. Push this knee down. Right knee down, chest out. Push it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, stretch. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come back. Good. Other side. Lift. Push. Push. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Exhale, release. Good. Okay. Tired or more? We'll do some breathing exercises now. Keep your palms on your knees. Or you can take it back and hold your elbows. This will ensure that your back is straight throughout the breathing. If you can stay here, we'll do Brahmari Pranayam. In Brahmari, we inhale and exhale through nose itself. But when we exhale, we make a humming bee sound, which is like zzz, but with our mouth closed. So it will be when we exhale. Okay, let's try. If you can try with your eyes closed, it is better. Whatever is more comfortable to you. Breathe in. Inhale. 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 2 more times. Breathe in. Try to keep your eyes closed. You can place your palms on your knees. We'll do just little meditation. After this wonderful session, what we have learned today, let's try to what we can connect. Focus on your breathing. Relax your eyebrows completely. No judgments. Relax your forehead. Whatever thoughts are coming, let it pass by. Let's focus on our breathing. Similarly, let's focus on our karma, our actions, rather than focusing on the results. Let's leave it to the universe, to the Supreme Power, who has a better plan for us than what we could even think of. Let's try to connect with our soul, away from our mind, deeper in our body, something that's gonna stay with us lifetime after lifetime. Let's connect with that Supreme Power. Let's try to feel the gratitude for whatever He has given to us, for everything that we have around us, our family, our friends, everything. The more we express gratitude, the more universe gives us that thing. So whatever you want more, express more gratitude for that. Let's try to go away from criticism. Criticism not for ourselves, nor for others. Only gratitude. Criticism brings negativity in our aura, our relation with the other person. So let's try to bring more gratitude in this world. Focus on your breathing. Try to connect with the infinite game, which is our mental health, which is our soul. Way, way away from the finite game of our weight, body, money, wealth, way deeper. See if you can connect with any of these things. Relax your shoulders, neck. The more you focus on the result, the more shoulder pain, neck pain comes to you. Relax your body completely. With this thought, slowly bring your palms together between your chest. Press your palms against each other. Rub your palms against each other. Gently place your palms on your eyes. Let go your palms and open your eyes. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy International Yoga Day. Thank you so much.